starting now. Let me just make sure this is going live. In theory, it should be live now, and I'm going to be sharing it on multiple things right now. Let's see. On here. Guys, if you can hear me, let me know in the chat. And Casper, can you say something or can you say something just to test the audio?
Good morning.
All right, guys, could you hear him? Let me know in the chat. And let me just ping it in here.
I'm gonna see if I can hear myself. I'll go on the stream.
That's
Where's
right.
Sorry, I forgot I was on Do Not Disturb.
All good. Yes. And so we are currently joined by Casper. Casper, say hi.
Good morning.
And we are joined by Weather Sharkius.
Good morning, guys.
Yes. So, unfortunately, we are looking at a catastrophic blow to Jamaica with this storm. It's just explosive, or it's exploded in intensity. It's even stronger now. Winds are around, what would you say, Casper, around 185 miles an hour at this point?
Yeah, 160, could even be 165 knots, which would be 190 miles per hour. We're looking at something upper echelon, absolutely incredible, extreme intensity storm.
So this would be historic if it makes landfall with
Right.
winds of 185 miles an hour. Do you know all the other storms that have made landfall in that intensity in like the Atlantic Basin?
Um, to my knowledge, I believe that we're probably looking at about something slightly stronger than Dorian. To my knowledge, I'm only aware in terms of pressure that we are, according to the latest drop zone, I think. No, sorry, my mistake. According to the last drop zone that we do have, we are tied with the Labor Day hurricane.
Oh,
From,
wow.
I forgot what year that was. That was
Strongest landfalling,
1935
it should be Labor Day. Labor Day is the strongest landfalling hurricane
in the
at
Atlantic.
892 millibars. And Recon just got 890.
Is that X-Trap or is that drop zone?
I think that is.
I think that's
Let's
extra
see.
from earlier. We're still waiting for the sound right now.
Okay.
Recon flight level winds an estimated.
Oh man. Okay. Oof. All right. Yeah. So it could be in the lower 890s right now in terms of pressure. So this could make landfall as the strongest hurricane in the Atlantic Basin that we know of.
In terms of landfall, yes.
And unfortunately, this will be making landfall in Jamaica as the strongest storm in Jamaican history by far. It's a terrible situation right now that the system is just continuing to intensify. Do you guys see any signs of this stopping stopping its intensification trend?
Nope.
No. One thing I will say though is it'll probably, at best, if I had to be really optimistic, probably 5 knots weakening right before landfall as a result of terrain interaction. Jamaica isn't the most flat island, but it
Yes.
is quite mountainous. And yeah, literally the best we're gonna get is absolute minimum, maximum 5 knot weakening at best, in my opinion. But you know, at the moment, if I have to be saying really, what do I expect? It's probably going to maintain intensity, and nonetheless, it's going to be the same pretty much. It's going to be all extreme damage over the place, and I wish the best. Really, it's going to be really bad.
Yes. So, in terms of its current positioning from Jamaica, I will use this right now for my estimates. Currently around, this will be in kilometer, or whoops, okay, there it is. Pausing it right at the end there. This is from St. Elizabeth. Oh, let me use the distance tool. This is going to be in kilometers. Oh wait, no, 8 miles. Okay, good. 18.5 miles away from making landfall right now. So very close. Do you guys know how fast it's moving right now?
7.
I know the latest
7 miles an
National
hour?
Hurricane Center update has it at 7 miles per hour. That's right.
Okay, so we should be looking at just over 2 hours or so until landfall. So that timing looks to be accurate there, 2.5 hours or so, until it makes a catastrophic landfall, likely in St. Elizabeth Parish.
So I should
Some
know that
information.
we do get the latest update literally any time now.
Oh yes, okay, yeah.
some information from Recon. As soon as they flew in, their altitude change in 10 seconds went 325 feet. They got tossed around
Wow.
as soon as they entered the eye. And they had flight level pressure of, or I think surface pressure is 890 or 892.
Mm-hmm. Here's a look at the latest radar imagery of where the storm is, and you can just see a solid eyewall there. It has not updated in the latest last 25 minutes or so. Windy is just trying to experiment with the radar now, getting Jamaican radar data from this system. Doesn't seem like it's updated for a little while. But man, solid
The main
storm. Is there
radar,
any weakness in it? Are you seeing any weak side?
No.
no.
Nope.
With regards to the radar, the main site is having problems with accessibility. There's too many people on it, so
Yeah, that makes
getting
sense.
radar data might be a bit difficult.
Man. So, Category 5 winds are likely all throughout, you would say? All throughout this eyewall? On all sides, would you say?
But definitely in the strongest quadrants, probably looking about probably half the quadrants do have Category 5 winds. But again, I'd like to emphasize that there's going to be strong winds all around all quadrants. Again, there's absolutely little difference with regards to winds, and you're probably never going to be able to tell the difference at the surface.
Yes. Man, and it
What
looks like it's
about
going to be
Gilbert?
coring Treasure Beach on that eastern side of the eyewall.
Someone asked, will it break Gilbert? And I don't think so. It could, but with it like mere maybe an hour away from landfall, I don't think it'll have enough time. But there's nothing stopping it from intensifying besides the Jamaican coast at this point. So it could make a run for it since it's at 890 and Gilbert was 888. I don't see why not, but knowing the NHC, they usually over or underestimate these storms.
Hmm. Man, so it's likely already winds of 100 what was it, 185 to 190 miles an hour. So that would be what was Gilbert's maximum winds
I think one, I think
at peak?
185,
Yeah,
185,
185.
88.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. So this is making a run for being stronger than Gilbert's record or peak intensity, and this is already expected to make landfall at a stronger intensity than Gilbert's. With when Gilbert made landfall with winds of around 130 miles an hour, this is expected to make landfall with winds of around 185 to 190 miles an hour. Looks like. There was only one storm in the Atlantic history that had reached winds of 190 miles an hour, and that was Allen of 1980. Did not make landfall in that intensity, though, so we are looking at something potentially historic with this system. Historic regardless for Jamaican history.
Can I just note about the latest flight level wind of 173 knots that we just got at 700 millibars? That is the highest, strongest flight level wind observation at 700 millibars in the Atlantic basin ever. That is the
Oh,
record.
wow.
We've just beat it.
Wait, so what was the old record?
Sorry to interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Just came in. Special advisor, 185, 892.
185 miles an hour they're going with right now?
185, 892.
Right, 185, yeah.
Wow.
Challenging Allen right now. Tied Gilbert, could challenge Allen now. It's
Here,
tied
I'll
the
read
Labor
the
Day
discussion.
hurricane. It's
Here's
tied
so-
the
I'd like
Labor
to
Day
say that
hurricane.
wording is absolutely strong in its powerful wording there. Please,
Catastrophic winds moving onshore in southern Jamaica. Last chance to protect your life. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Take cover now. Failure to adequately shelter may result in serious injury and loss of life. Residents in Jamaica that experience the eye should not leave their shelter as winds will rapidly increase within the backside of the eye wall of Melissa. To protect yourself from the wind, the best thing you can do is put as many walls as possible between you and the outside. An interior room without windows, ideally one where you can also avoid falling trees, is the safest place you can be in a building. You can cover yourself with a mattress and wear a helmet for added protection. NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft find that Melissa continues to strengthen with maximum sustained winds of 185 miles an hour. The minimum central pressure has fallen to 892 millimars based on NOAA and Hurricane Hunter Air Force Reserve aircraft data. Next advisory will be out at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That is in an hour or less. Wow.
Oh my! They're so fast too. It's right on Wikipedia and everything like that. Tied Labor Day 892, 185. It is tied with Labor Day as well for the most intense landfall in terms of wind speed.
Wow.
So if it goes to 190 before landfall, which it could, because I think their Recon is sitting in the eye still.
hmm
So and there's another hour left to landfall, so they could go with the 11 p.m. Or 11 a.m. advisory here before
There's actually
landfall.
2 hours until landfall, so really even further strengthening is possible.
It could go. It could challenge Gilbert at this point. I didn't think it would drop 4, but since it's 892, this could challenge Gilbert.
Wow.
That's already the third most intense now with Labor Day.
In terms of landfall location, looks like around Black River is expected to see a catastrophic landfall from the system. Anywhere to the east of the center is expected to get devastating storm surge from it. How high of storm surge do you guys think it will be along that eastern side?
It's a little bit uncertain. Yeah,
Play 15.
we're looking at
Pull it up.
many meters high. That's what I'm gonna say at the moment.
I
I'm not aware of what the
there was
National Hurricane Center have said. What did they say?
let me find the surge there. 9 to 13 feet was being forecasted, but they've kept those numbers consistent even throughout when they expected it to be making landfall as a minimum Cat 4. Now it's forecast to make landfall as a powerful Category 5. So I feel like I agree with you, Sharky, as those storm surge amounts could be even higher, and in the meters, like you said, Casper. So up
Yeah,
to 15 feet.
9 to 13 feet. We're looking at 3 to 4 meters, which, as you said, it could go higher. We're looking, honestly, could even get up to 5. And I'm not trying to over exaggerate anything, but this is an extremely dire situation. We've never seen it. Well, at least often you don't see it get this bad. Very rarely, and again, that's an understatement because this almost never happens. This is unprecedented.
When was the last time we've seen a Category 5 of this caliber making landfall? Ragasa wasn't this strong at landfall.
Haiyan, simple,
Haiyan?
Haiyan,
Wow.
Haiyan. This is, in my opinion, and again, I really don't want to sugarcoat it, and I'm not trying to over exaggerate here, but this is probably the Haiyan of the Atlantic. Jamaica is never going to be ready for something like this. This is first time.
Wow. How long do you think it's going to be
Um,
taking for Jamaica to recover from this? Especially areas like Black River and Treasure Beach.
oh my goodness, the winds in Kingston right now over hurricane force.
Chase, it's gonna be years. It's
Yeah.
gonna be years.
I
I'm
don't know.
sorry.
It's not going to be years. It's going to be decades almost. I mean, even Puerto Rico is still recovering from Maria. This is
Yes.
not. This is going to be even worse. This is just not.
It's
It's
gonna
not good. It's going to take a
it's,
long time.
it's gonna bring a shock to many people. This is not something that people should be facing. It's gonna bring mental damage to many people, and I am sorry. I feel really bad for everyone there. I'm praying. Um, it's I am lost for words, and I'm sure many other people are as well.
Yes. So, landfall timing. Landfall is expected to be within the next 2 hours or so around, again, Black River, Crawford, maybe just to the west of Treasure Beach. Let me pull up satellite again on here, without radar there, where it's expected to make landfall. Again, if you are in the eye, do not be venturing out, as the backside is going to be hitting potentially just as strong in areas along Black River, just west of Treasure Beach. All these areas in St. Elizabeth getting hit by a Category 5 strength system. Now, do you guys want to try to define what the term landfall means? Because I know that not everyone knows what the term landfall means, what we mean by that.
Yes. So a landfall of a major hurricane or any hurricane is when the center of the eye makes it onshore. So when the center of the eye crosses over land, that's when we have landfall.
So it doesn't mean the worst impacts. You're going to be getting the worst impacts even before landfall with that eyewall. Because the eyewall brings the worst impacts, not the eye. You all should know that in Jamaica there. So landfall is what we mean by when the center crosses. You're kind of at the halfway point at that point. You still have the other half of the storm to go through. Let's see, I do want to discuss some of the rainfall totals being forecasted from the National Hurricane Center and Weather Prediction Center here, because there still are catastrophic rainfall totals expected for some portions of Jamaica. That does include southeastern James Parish, southern Trelawney, Parish, southwestern St. Anne Parish, northwestern Clarendon, northern Manchester, and northeastern St. Elizabeth, all expected to see catastrophic rainfall totals of 20 to 30 inches. And the areas around there are expected to see 16 to 20 inches of rain. And a majority of Jamaica should be seeing at least 8 inches of rain, additional rainfall totals, unfortunately. So again, at least moderate impacts throughout the entirety of Jamaica in terms of additional rainfall totals. Catastrophic impacts are expected in that pink highlighted area there. 20 to 30 inches of rain, and that's on top of what's already fallen. How much rain do you think has already fallen, guys?
I'll try to look for the surface observations, but it's probably too much.
What's the biggest
I'll try
concern
to
here
look.
with the flooding?
Mudslides, 100%.
Yes.
I mean, it isn't to do with the flooding, but the rainfall is constantly going to be dropping out. Let's not forget that Jamaica is very mountainous, so we will be looking at a big mudslide, landslide threat, as the National Hurricane Center has pointed out over many days. Biggest threat by far. We see worldwide, because of rainfall threats we see, mudslides being one of the highest, strongest, worst killers in terms of. Sorry, I should say that with regards to rainfall and
Yes.
what happens in the rainfall, probably the worst killer is mudslide events, because you can kill people in moments. You can literally get a whole ton of terrain literally just coming down, piling down many feet, hundreds of meters and feet coming down, and yeah, that's a lot of buildings and a lot of people going down with it. It's
Yes.
it's it's going to be a massive killer, especially in Jamaica when you are going to have a lot of people living on hillsides. I'm not saying this is in Jamaica specifically, but in some of the worst off areas in the world, where there are going to be lots of slums on higher terrain, you're going to see big death tolls, and again, it's absolutely not safe.
Unfortunately, we thought that was going to be the biggest concern, and now there's also such a high wind threat for portions of St. Elizabeth. And really, how strong do you guys think it will be by the time it exits Jamaica? How much do you think it's going to
Oh, we're
weaken?
we're still looking at a very powerful hurricane making its way over eastern Cuba. I don't mean to be promoting, but over my videos over the past few days that I've been making on my channel, obviously I haven't been putting it out there, but I have been analysing closely that there is the possibility of a slight rebound, and yeah, let's not forget actually that Jamaica isn't actually that big. Melissa
Yes.
won't be spending too much time over Jamaica, and it will be moving off fairly quickly. So how much weakening happens, it'll probably be not too much actually. It'll probably be a Category 4 hurricane by the time it exits still. And with the possibility of a rebound, we could be getting something pretty powerful still making its way over eastern Cuba. And I'm not saying something as powerful as now. It's very hard to get to this current state right now in any sort of situation. And the environment will get slightly less favourable. Nonetheless, favourable enough for a possible rebound. I've been noting this for a few days. So eastern Cuba definitely should be watching out. We're not going to get any significant weakening at all, really.
And that does mean that even portions of northern Jamaica are still going to get rolled through by a Category 4 or 5 strength, or like a northwestern Jamaica. Category
Yeah,
4 or 5 rolling through there as well. I mean, that's not just
absolutely.
along the coast for the wind impacts.
Yep. And yeah, with regards to Eastern Cuba as well, we got that big significant rainfall threat, and
Yes.
also you see if you see on Chase's stream there,
Pull up here.
with all that, we look at the satellite imagery
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. You'll see big band. It is stretching
Yes.
across over to Haiti and the Dominican
So if we
Republic.
have this.
Big rainfall threat, widespread, continuous. There's a lot of impacts everywhere. It's not just the wind, it's the rain and the storm surge as well. Storm surge threat will be greater after it exits Jamaica and especially after Cuba because the storm's wind field will be expanding. But yeah, big threats, widespread threats, all hazards across much of a wider area. Everyone needs to be watching out. There's a big threat everywhere.
And for Cuba, there are totals here being forecasted of around 400 to 500 millimeters for eastern Granma and central Santiago de Cuba provinces in Cuba, with rainfall totals of up to 500 millimeters plus being forecasted for you there. So again, you are seeing major impacts in form of rain with the possibility of catastrophic impacts being forecasted for you, additional impacts on top of what's already fallen. Wow. And you mentioned the storm surge threat. Explain how that's going to be even worse for portions of Cuba.
Yeah, so with the storm's core becoming a little bit loose after Jamaica, because it will be obviously weakening due to that higher terrain and land interaction, we're going to see big wind field expansion with obviously more of a greater kind of reach within this strong wind field. We're going to have very high rip currents and waves and lots of water being gathered, especially with high intensity. We'll have big surges coming onto land. And yeah, going into the Bahamas, it'll even get worse because it won't have to, but it will be broadening out after Cuba or through
Yes.
Cuba as it moves through. And yeah, again, same process. There'll be a much larger fetch for obviously that for that surge to end up developing, and it will be going over those islands. So big threat with coastal inundation over the next few days.
Yes.
Chase,
Hmm.
we got a really big problem unfolding right now. It's still intensifying, and recent drop Sundays have said that it could be 177 knots right now.
Drops on data. What are your thoughts on that, Casper?
Oh, I am just seeing a drop sound over here that was dropped at 150Z. Sorry, 1350Z.
Hmm.
And the reduction to the surface from the boundary layer winds do get to 160 knots. So yeah, that does support the National Hurricane Center upgrade.
Okay. Wow. And so I would like to discuss what will these winds do to portions of southwestern Jamaica, like portions of St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, all these areas where it directly blows through. What kind of damage could they be looking at with the system?
uh big destruction of vegetation, uh probably to the extent that we see with some of those strong tornadoes over the continental United States. We're gonna have big scarring over the land. That vegetation on the surface is gonna be turned very dark, believe me. It is not gonna be a light on the vegetation. There's gonna be big scarring of the vegetation on the surface. We're
Hmm.
going to see a lot of this even stronger on the mountains and the higher terrain, and yeah,
Jamaica's a
big
very
damage
green
there.
country,
And
right?
yeah, and it's going to be, in a few days, we're going to see high resolution satellite images point out just how dark the island's going to get. I mean, if you look at Dominica after Hurricane Maria, for example, you'll see how brown the
Hmm.
vegetation on the surface in general ended up turning.
This is even
We're probably going to
stronger.
see something similar. Yeah, we're probably going to see something like it over Jamaica. It's going to look ugly.
Hmm. What kind of damage to infrastructures are possible?
Oh, complete flattening. If you've seen some of the houses and kind of where they're built on Jamaica, a lot of it is on higher terrain, much above the surface, much above the sea level.
Hmm.
Those gusts piling in, literally, it's gonna. I hate to say it, but it's gonna absolutely uh, demolish everything. Like we're probably gonna see a complete destruction.
Yes.
Literally, there's going to be lots of things just completely wiped off. There's going to be a lot of things wiped off the map. Uh, you know,
Yeah, and you mentioned the hills there, how those winds are going to be higher. I believe it is mentioned on here. Let me see if I can find it. Yes. Within the Eyewall, total structural failure is likely, especially in higher elevation areas where wind speeds atop and on the windward sides of hills and mountains could be up to 30% stronger. Now, what do they mean there by the windward sides of hills and mountains? You want to explain that?
can you just repeat that, sorry?
What would you, or how would you explain that the windward sides of hills and mountains could be up to 30% stronger? Why on the windward sides?
Well, we're going to see a lot of those boundary layer winds getting, they are already, but they are always those boundary layer winds going up to 150 meters, all the way up to 500 meters. They're above the surface. They're dealing with much less friction compared to what we have at 10 meters above the surface. And yeah, those winds are going to be much, much, much stronger. When you're up at higher terrain and you're about to be facing a big, big, big and very destructive hurricane, you'd be probably focusing instinctively, or anyone would be, instinctively focusing on what those maximum sustained surface winds are going to be. But let's not forget, not everyone is at the surface. And, on a mountainous island like Jamaica, people are living 200, 300, probably even further up, meters above sea level. They're going to encounter those boundary layer winds, which are going to be not only stronger in terms of sustained winds, but maybe in terms of friction, accounting for friction, it will probably be similar to the sustained surface winds. But let's not forget the gusts. The gusts are going to be absolutely reckoning on everything in its way.
Yes.
Again, it's going to be absolutely catastrophic.
Yeah, we can see on here the dropzone data showing just how the winds higher up are a lot stronger. Right on here on this right side. Yep.
If you take a look at the latest dropzones dropped at 1350Z, you can see, I mean, if you look higher up, 906 millibars, 907, 911,
wow.
Those winds get up to 215 knots. Absolutely incredible.
How strong is that in miles an hour?
Oh, we're looking at 250, I think, or close to.
250 mile an hour winds all the way up there. And really saying all the way up there is not too high for Jamaica.
Yeah, 219 knots. I mean, that's 252 miles per hour. That is... Also, can I just say, that beats the old drop zone record that we had yesterday. Yesterday we got 210 knots aloft. Now we've got 219. So, again, absolutely incredible what we're seeing right now.
Record-breaking data, unfortunately. Wow. Man, okay. And I would like to discuss with you the structural vulnerability. Like, how does that work there on terms of things like made out of wood and concrete? What kind of structure should people be sitting in right now or be sheltering in?
Get in the sturdiest thing you can. Concrete is probably the hardest thing you can get into. Very solid concrete structures. Preferably get into a more how do I say it? Get into a more terrain sheltered area where there is a structure. Obviously not an area that's prone to flash flooding, because that's going to happen really quickly, as we know, but something that is free from most hazards, or at least where most hazards are going to be at least the most limited. And yeah, get into an absolutely sturdy, very, very solid and solidified concrete structure where there's likely to be less debris, and you're going to be more sheltered without having the roof potentially falling on your head.
Yes.
Or at least walls falling on your head. Really strong shelters should be the priority. And yeah, again, as the National Hurricane Centre update have pointed out, if you're still on the northern side of the island, you might actually have a bit of time. But seriously, it's the last chance to save your life, because time is ticking and we're about to get a catastrophe unfolding if it's not begun already.
I would like for both of you to be discussing, what about the power and communication outages? What will that be like in portions of western Jamaica?
Oh, big. And, it doesn't help actually how we've got this banding to the east, which is, making stuff worse to the east, unlike what it could be otherwise. At the moment we're seeing this landfall happening on the west side of the island, but that rainfall over the past few days and now is going to be dropping, is going to be dropping over eastern Jamaica, and those mudslides and landslides will be catastrophic over there, let's not forget. So we are going to see damage all over the place, widespread. Everything's going to see some significant damage across the island, and it will be difficult probably to get aid in to begin with and to restore everything, telecommunications. There's a lot of vulnerability here in that sense. And that's gonna keep recovery going on for months, years. and possibly going even into decades. Especially when we go on to seeing all this damage. People often say the aftermath is quite destructive, and people are going to feel a lot in the aftermath. People are going to be feeling it for years upon end. It is going to be very, very memorable in a bad way. It's going to be sickening. It's going to be
Yes.
sickening. It's going to be bad. It's going to have a very long-lasting impact. There's so many elements to consider. What happens now? What happens before landfall? What happens now? What happens in the aftermath? The aftermath again. It's a really critical point that people just see everything. If we go look at Haiyan, and this is going to seem very graphic, but you see dead bodies all over the place. As I said, this is the Haiyan of the Atlantic. I can't stress this enough. This kind of wording I probably shouldn't be using because, again, I should probably be saying that, I should probably be saying with hope that things are going to be all right. But I need to be realistic here.
Yes.
It is going to be bad. It is going to be horrific. I have no other way to put it.
I've seen a lot of Jamaicans saying like, "Oh, we need to hold hope and stuff," and I agree with that. That we need to have hope that the system would not be as bad. We needed to hold on to hope, and really, we're losing that right now. As
The only way,
Mhm.
the only way to be really hopeful, and the only way to really be confident everything's going to be okay, is if you acknowledge the worst case scenario
Yes,
and you are prepared for it. Which is why we kind of need to bring these things into context and
exactly.
explain it's going to be bad, but you can help at least,
Take
mitigate against the
precautions. Yes.
impact a little bit. Yeah.
The
So
biggest thing right now is act now to save your life. This is just
Yes.
a life or death situation. Again, 185 miles per hour, likely 190 now, along with the pressure near 890 or lower. It's just not a situation that you want to be outside or you want to be out away from shelter right now. This just get to the most concrete structure, the most secure building possible, and get out of its way. If it's just you have to get out of its way. There's just no preventing this now. It's coming ashore right now.
Yes.
It's just
There's
time
no
is
way to
up.
sugarcoat it.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Time's up. It's one of the worst situations I've ever seen. The wording from the NHC2 is just absolutely crazy, but they mean it. Act now to save your life.
Yes. I do want to talk about water and utility concerns, Casper. You should know more about that. The kind of problems with water that's going to be happening across portions of western Jamaica.
yeah, I mean, you're going to have that storm surge around, and that's going to infiltrate into those water systems. This storm surge is going to be nothing short of catastrophic again, all impacts. And, you're going to have these mudslides, heavy rainfall, flash flooding. Again, you're going to have big infiltration into the water systems, and you're not going to have clean water for most of the island, really. So, big problems with that. And again, with such destruction, particularly with the largest airport on the island at, you know, Montego Bay,
Hmm.
which is not too far from the track
Yes.
and not too far from where the core's going to be passing. Again, that aid's not going to be coming in, so fresh water, it's going to be very hard to get it across to everyone. It's not going to be easy.
Yes. I'd advise boiling or filtering water if possible after the storm, because some of it will be contaminated. A lot of it will be. And what about those road conditions from the landslides? How will that be affecting a lot of roads and cutting communities off?
A lot of areas are going to be unpassable, and some communities are probably going to be isolated. Helicopters probably going to be the only ways to get around. Yeah, it's you're not going to be able to get around Jamaica.
Yes.
Not after this. It's many of the highways. Many of the highways are going to be all blocked, destroyed. Transport is going to be very difficult, if not impossible. So,
Unfortunately, yeah, this is like a Katrina Maria type event for Jamaica right now. The roads are going to be everything is just going to be completely different from what it was yesterday.
Hmm.
Everything is just going to be it's just going to be a whole different environment. It's going to be unrecognizable to those who survive. It's just going to be one of the worst situations ever to unfold in this area. Jamaica's never seen anything like this before, and we haven't either since the 1930s. So
Yes.
it's again, this is just life or death. Please take shelter. I can't say it any more than I could now, and just watching it as it approaches land just gets me emotional here. I'm just trying to hold back right now.
It's unprecedented right now.
Hmm.
Someone asked a question there. Is there a chance Cuba could get hit with a Category 5? Casper, you mentioned the fact that it could see some strengthening after it leaves Jamaica.
Um, no, well, yeah, we will see some strengthening. Whether it comes out as a Category 5, there's a bit of uncertainty to that, I won't lie.
Hmm.
We are pretty confident it'll weaken below Category 5 intensity. Wind does tend, in the first few hours, there is definitely a significant amount of weakening that happens typically in a hurricane after landfall, especially when it comes to mountainous terrain. In this instance, right?
Hmm.
It is, it's going to weaken quite a bit. But honestly, I won't rule out a Category 5. Why? Melissa's done some crazy stuff already, by the way, and the chance for a Category 5 re-strengthening is pretty low. But again, the environment isn't actually going to be all that unconducive. It's going to be fairly conducive still as it approaches Cuba. That's why I noted that there will be some strengthening. And yeah, the worst we can probably get realistically, high-end Category 4-ish range. It'll definitely be coming out as a strong hurricane, Category 4, probably. It won't be too long overland, over Jamaica. Strengthening is absolutely possible. So
You'd say a
it won't
major
come out as a
hurricane is pretty much guaranteed for Cuba.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's been for a few days now.
Hmm.
But yeah, we could absolutely get something really strong into eastern Cuba, and if I'm not going to lie, probably something historic there too. It's not going to be weak. It's not going to be this, oh yeah, somewhat strong hurricane. No, it will be a very strong hurricane as it goes over Cuba as well. The environment is conducive. And obviously, there's no guarantee on re-strengthening because we don't actually know what the core is going to look like after
Yes.
Jamaica. But yeah, some of the guidance does indicate some re-strengthening. It's absolutely critical to be prepared for that. It's not going to be weak.
Yes. Now, what about evacuations and shelters? Do you think shelters are still going to be accepting people in portions of northern Jamaica, northwestern Jamaica?
Or if people have some humanity, then I'd expect them to.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Are people around? Are people still moving around? Well, I don't actually know what the situation is on the ground because
Hmm.
everyone's probably hunkered down in the most secure places. I'd hope at least. I don't know what's happening at the ground, so at least I can only say I hope that people are still taking people in
Hmm.
wherever they are. But yeah, I don't know.
So we encourage you staying there until the all clear is given. When do you think it will finally be clear for Jamaica?
Uh, we're probably looking at about 9 hours from now ish, 6 hours earliest.
Oh no, no, I mean like clear, like in terms of impacts are done for Jamaica.
Yeah, I don't know. Because there's going to be some variability still where some of that outer convection, whether that flash flooding still ends up stopping. Because rainfall, in this sense, going to be a bit difficult to predict. There's going to be some rainfall around the place for the next few days still.
Hmm.
But with regards to the main impacts, again, we're probably looking at about 12 hours until people could probably start moving out and seeing what's happening.
Yes. I would say it's best to wait until Wednesday morning or tomorrow morning to just stay sheltered until then across
Yeah,
wherever you are in Jamaica. Wednesday morning. Tomorrow morning it should be much calmer than what it's like
yeah.
this
You'll
morning.
probably have the armed forces of Jamaica or the police walking around and giving updates when the conditions get a bit better. We'll probably have some support making their way around and letting you guys know what to do.
Hmm. See, now, regional impacts as well. So what kind of impacts are you expecting for the Bahamas after the system? Like, how strong do you think it will be in the Bahamas? Because it's not just Jamaica and Cuba.
I would like to emphasize for the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos as well, because they'll be nearby,
Hmm.
is the fact that, while wind will be strong, and I'd like to mention that they are smaller islands, um, lower altitude islands. You know, they're less terrain. Really, they're more flat. So, with regards to them, storm surge is absolutely critical. Critical impact that people must be watching out for. Heavy rainfall. Winds will be strong as well, so let's not forget that. But yeah, storm surge, heavy rainfall will be the most impactful effects on those islands, and yeah, it's going to be not too good over there either. The National Hurricane Center forecasts a high-end Category 2 moving over those islands uh, tomorrow night,
Hmm.
early Thursday. So yeah, it's going to be a strong storm there over there too.
Yes.
Not like in Cuba though. But still, definitely something significant and absolutely something to prepare for. We've got hurricane warnings in effect there. It's
Yes.
not going to be weak there either. And if we go up to Bermuda as well, we
Yes.
discuss what's happening in Bermuda. That's a few days out, but yeah, it will still be a strong hurricane at that point. Hurricanes, even tropical storms, you know, there can still be a very significant storm surge and heavy rainfall risk, which ends up killing people in the end. It's best to be prepared, nonetheless.
Hmm.
Melissa will be tracking over the next few days, and will be bringing impacts of all sorts at strong intensity.
And Sharkius, why is it more of a concern if it moves to the west of Bermuda there instead of to the east? Like on this model run, why is it more of a concern that it looks like it's going to go to the west of Bermuda?
It's the rain. It's going to be the rain. Anything that, any island, rain is the worst case scenario, especially when it comes to a lot of rain. And if it moves more to the west, it's probably going to track more northwest or northeast. So when it does that, it's just going to drop countless rain on the island. So
Hmm.
flooding is going to be the biggest threat there if
Also,
it
the
moves more
wind,
to the
though.
west. The wind actually yes, because the wind is gonna be on that east side of the hurricane. It has been the whole time pretty much. The wind field has always been on the east side, even when it was a tropical storm. The wind
Hmm.
field was on the eastern half. So again, this model run showing that the winds are on the eastern side. So yes, if it does move more to the west, you'll probably see even more wind the way you would
Yes.
if it was closer.
Because you have to factor in that forward motion of the system. It's speeding off towards the northeast, and so the eastern side of the system, you have to add in that forward motion. So hurricane force winds would be possible along Bermuda if it moves to the west, whereas if it was to the east, it wouldn't see as much of those winds. Yes.
Right.
See now, what happens when the eye passes over an area here in, let's say, St. Elizabeth or Black River? What are people going to be seeing as that eye passes over?
Sorry.
Oh, good. Did my
Oh
mic cut out?
goodness. No, just looking at a TDR right now.
Hmm.
174 knots.
Wow.
Goodness gracious. Okay, so what were you asking me?
What are
Sorry.
people going to be seeing once the eye passes over them? Like in Black River, for example. What are people going to be seeing
Well,
there?
you're gonna feel an extreme pressure drop. As for right now, you're probably getting around 970 millibars because you guys are not even in the eye yet. You're gonna feel an extreme pressure pull as it passes over you. Once you get into the eye, after the pressure drop, you feel nothing. It's clear. I saw pictures from the eye as
Hmm.
hurricane hunters are flying through it. It is very peaceful in the eye. However, it's not going to last long. It's a very small
Yes.
eye, so when the backside of that eye wall comes in, that's going to be the worst part. From what I see, Black River is going to be on the eastern side of that eye wall, the southeastern side, and that's where the strongest winds will be, is on the
Yes.
eastern side here.
Yes, and it's not
So,
over once you're in the eye, like you said.
no, it comes right back. Once you're in the eye, it's peaceful for about who knows how long it'll stay over you. I mean, it is slowing down, it looks like, before it approaches here, but it's not going to last very long.
Hmm.
And especially after it moves over land, that's when the eye starts to collapse because that always happens. So even if you get some peace for some time, it'll probably likely last for only 30 minutes to an hour.
Yes.
and then you're right back in that other side of the eye wall.
Casper, do you think that the eye is going to still be intact after it moves through Jamaica? What do you think kind of the structure is going to look like afterwards? If you were to take a little bit of a guesstimate on it. I know we don't know yet.
Yeah, I was gonna actually bring up. I'm starting to see people talk about the possibility of a Category 5 going into Cuba. I'm not the first one saying it, and I'm not the only one.
Hmm.
You know, there is a genuine possibility here. I've realised actually now that this kind of a more westward approach through Jamaica, into Jamaica, is actually going to increase the probability of a strong hurricane going into Cuba, because we are going to see less eyewall degradation, especially on the western side, and the centre isn't going to be over Jamaica for longer as compared to probably
Yes.
a more central approach. Nonetheless, we are going to see some degradation, as I said, and there is going to be some high terrain in its way nonetheless. So we are going to see some eye degradation. There's a possibility that eye doesn't actually fully collapse. We are going to see some degradation in the eye, as I said. The whole hurricane's probably going to degrade as it passes over, but we are not going to have too much time over Jamaica. There's a
Hmm.
possibility it does remain intact, at least somewhat. We're probably going to get down to at least a visible eye is definitely still possible after Jamaica, or once it goes through Jamaica, it'll probably still have the eye in the end, albeit slightly degraded.
Hmm. Elevation heights there around 500 to 600 meters at their peak. How much do you think that's going to try and tear up the system? Is that a lot? A lot of mountainous terrain?
Those the those the heights in its way, or the coast whole island?
Around pretty much the whole island here. So, like some areas over on the western portions around 300 meters, then this portion around central Jamaica there around 500 to 600 meters. Then it goes back down by the time it reaches the coast of Jamaica.
Yeah, I
Something
mean, as I
worth
said,
noting: there is a hospital in Black River that I think was evacuated, but is experiencing those winds now.
Hmm.
yeah, look, those 300, 400 meter heights, yeah, they're gonna have some effects. Those are not, uh, it's not flat at all. There is
Hmm.
going to be some noticeable effect. But then again, you don't have too long over Jamaica, so the amount of degradation that happens to Melissa probably won't be too significant, at least relatively across the whole category spectrum. We're still going to have a very strong hurricane after Jamaica. I'm
Yes.
gonna go now, okay? Just give me like 15 minutes. I'll be back.
All right, sure. Let's see here. I'm gonna check if radar's updated at all. Sharkies, can you see if there's any new updates on any fatalities across Jamaica?
Only one more, but it was from Haiti, so it's at 9.
Okay. Unfortunately, we are gonna likely see more loss of life across Jamaica, especially western portions of Jamaica as it makes a landfall. Ooh, this is a new frame now. We got new frames of radar showing where it's located at right now. I believe this should be stacked with radar. Let me just check.
It looks like about an hour away from landfall, so we could get another update here. And it looks like we have 165 knot support now,
Wow.
so they could go 190 on this, but we'll see.
Wow. Let's see here. Question: what is the next landfall for Melissa after the landfall in Jamaica and the Bahamas, and what is the most possible impacts for the Bahamas and Jamaica then Black River? Black River is expected to see catastrophic impacts. They are almost in the eyewall of the system, almost in the core of the system, where they could be seeing Category 5 winds. Some wind gusts up to 200 plus mile an hour winds are going to be possible there in Black River. Storm surge, it's a little bit tricky to be forecasting that because you may get in the center, not on the east, not on the west side. You may just get right in the center of the storm. Rainfall totals there around 12 to 16 inches of additional rainfall is being forecasted for you in Black River. Impacts will finally be calming down by Wednesday morning for you there. Now, in terms of the next landfall after Jamaica, the next landfall is expected to be in Cuba, where it could be making landfall as a Category 3 to 5 strength system. Regardless, it will be a major hurricane when it plows into Cuba. Looking at the Bahamas, it is expected to roll through as a Category 2 or 3 strength system, mainly around Long Island and Acklands and Crooked Island, looks like. on these islands over here. Could be seeing major impacts from the system, but right now our focus is on Jamaica. We will have more updates over the coming days about the system by the time it reaches Cuba and the Bahamas, so stay tuned for that. If you guys haven't already, please consider subscribing, as it really helps out a lot. We are 30 away from 4.6 thousand, and we are around 90 minutes away from that landfall in Jamaica. Wow. So how many planes are in the storm, Sharkius?
None anymore. The last Recon flight flew out a little while ago. They're saying it's probably peaked, so they flew out.
Yep, and approaching landfall, yep. We do have them flying on the northeastern side, looks like.
They could try to fly back in right before it makes landfall, but I don't know. They'll think they're going back home.
See, this
I
Recon
do like
plane
they're
only got
going
one
back,
pass, though.
That's only sat there for a little while. I don't know.
Man, okay. Just historic storm with this. Was not expecting this.
I think they're gonna go. They could go 190 miles per hour here. It's gonna try and give Allen a run for its money before it makes landfall.
Yes.
We'll see here. Still 9 fatalities. They're up to 28 injuries now. Looks like all the injuries, 15 are from Haiti, 13 are from Jamaica. Still those 3 fatalities we talked about yesterday on stream.
Where did the injuries occur in Jamaica? If you can find that out.
Let's see. 13 others were injured in preparation for the hurricane.
That's just preparation. Wow.
Indirect causes. So the 3 people died from indirect causes. Interesting. I was going to say it because it wasn't even close yet. That's really strange.
Now it's going to be delivering a catastrophic blow to St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, all these areas really. St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, St. James, St. Anne, Clarendon, and Manchester all expected to see catastrophic impacts from the system. So more fatalities are expected.
I think this is it's not wise enough to label it catastrophic. This is unprecedented.
Yes, unprecedented.
This is something they have never seen before. This is something we haven't seen before in our lifetimes. Again, back then, when a landfall like this happened was the 1930s. You and I were, I mean, my parents weren't even alive yet. So, like, back then, even my grandfather wasn't alive. So, again, this is just
once in a generation.
Extremely, once in a generational type hurricane. And something, too, is worth noting is that last year, Hurricane Milton had a similar intensity. It was a little bit weaker, but Hurricane Milton last year as well, also one of the strongest in the basin. So 2 years in a row now, we've had hurricanes in the top 10, top 5 actually.
Sub 900 millibars, 2 years in a row.
Sub 900.
This is historic.
2 years in a row, and I don't know what 2026 will bring, but it's too early to say anything yet. But the thing is, it's just incredible pressure. I think it's even lower than what 892 is. I think the lowest I'm going to go, I don't know, I think you're doing a reanalysis on this, definitely,
yeah,
probably
I'm gonna have
right
to do
after it happens.
On it. And then I'll do an animation on the storm.
We should do it together. We should do it together.
Yes. And there's so much reanalysis to do on this storm. It's so historic.
They're missing a lot, I think. I mean, this track too is extremely long-lived. If you look at how long the track is too, I mean, with how much it looped over itself, this storm has been up since it's been alive since the 8th of October, I think.
Not 8th of October.
Oh, sorry, that's a little early. 21st.
Yes, the 21st of October.
But that's when it formed as a tropical storm. But even as a low pressure system, though.
Yeah. This has been going on for a while now.
100%. This is insane.
And it still has about another 5 days or so to go. Unfortunately, so it's not
going to make
over
landfall
just
in Cuba as well. So it's not just Jamaica that's going to see these impacts as well. We're probably going to see a Maria type event across 3 different countries. Not like just all of them experiencing a Maria event, but like in total.
Yes.
It's not good. 2 major landfalls, maybe even a major landfall in the Bahamas if it can keep itself together. But Cuba, again, is a lot more of a landmass than Jamaica is. So,
Yes. Cuba is expected to see major impacts with the storm with a possibility of catastrophic impacts, and Bahamas are expected to see moderate impacts with a possibility of major impacts. In terms of Bermuda, I'd be
100%.
expecting moderate impacts now if you live in Bermuda.
And we already talked about Jamaica the last few days. I don't see a lot of people watching now, thank God, because they probably took shelter.
Yes. Unfortunately, they're likely without power now and without communications, especially in southwestern Jamaica.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's just insane looking. The eye is still creeping ashore here. The edge of the eye is almost on shore here.
I'll pull up some of the most recent imagery. Wow, yeah, you're right. This is, yeah, look at that, just starting to creep on shore there, just very close away from the center there of the storm. Looks to be around now just 12 miles away. And you said the last update that's moving 7 miles an hour, so that's just over an hour. Hour and a half.
I just have no words.
Man,
I'm gonna animate this season. I'm gonna have to use some extremely real, like extremely like good music that fits this because I'm not trying to like. This is just insane.
yes, catastrophic.
I,
Unprecedented.
I I mean, this is like one of your hypos, but realistic.
Yes. I,
Unfortunately, I mean, I can't. I think somebody had Melissa actually peaking,
mhm,
hitting Cuba as a Cat 5, exactly where it is projected to hit.
mhm.
So someone predicted this a little bit, but I don't think anyone thought that Melissa was gonna be
Yeah, no
a.
one would think this kind of stuff would happen in our lifetimes.
I mean, someone said Imelda was gonna do this. No,
Nope.
like, oh my goodness gracious. I mean, I'm just stunned because when I saw that it was struggling to rapidly intensify at times, I thought it wasn't gonna do anything like break records. I didn't even think it was gonna
Mhm.
make the top 10. But then it
Exceeds
just
our
completed
expectations.
all these I guess like I like to call them fake Eyewall replacement cycles,
Yes.
and go ahead and just be able to intensify that way. I mean, it has not undergone a regular Eyewall replacement cycle. It hasn't been able
Yes.
to.
The only saving grace for Jamaica was going to be that Eyewall replacement cycle. Really, if it would just
Yeah.
weaken it some, but we all thought fluctuations in intensity would occur. We thought that it would fluctuate downwards. We didn't think it would be just continuously increasing and increasing. I was really hoping that by the time I woke up this morning that I'd be seeing a weaker system, that, oh, it's undergoing an eyewall replacement cycle, it's starting to collapse, but no, it's just gotten stronger and stronger. I saw your message, Sharky, it's just seeing like, wow, it's getting even stronger.
Yeah. I think, let's see.
So it will make landfall in Jamaica as a Category 5, 100%, yes. It is expected to make a landfall as not just a bare minimum Category 5. Winds of 185 to 190 miles an hour, or 180 to 190 mile an hour winds are expected, sustained. You'd be seeing gusts of up to 250 miles an hour with the system.
If you want to go, because I'm going to be honest with you guys right now, Recon, when they get their data, sometimes the NHC like underestimates it and puts
Hmm.
it as low as they can because they don't want to pull the trigger.
Yes.
But this hurricane is definitely, in my opinion, rivaling Allen for the most intense in terms of wind speed.
Yes.
Um, Pressure as well, I think it's lower than 890 or 889. Like, it's really close
Wow.
to that area, in my opinion. I mean, I saw a reading by Recon that said 890.44. And I
Wow.
think that I sent that to you earlier. Yeah, I did.
Hmm.
At 854, you can see in our DMs here, there's a little picture. If you go up a little bit, there it is.
Oh, wow.
You can see on there, really close to the end there on the bottom, you see 890.76, and then on the minimum pressure is 890.
Wow.
So with that, that probably gives us a rough estimate that Melissa is stronger than what they're saying, and it is the third most intense, not tied with um, Labor Day.
Hmm. We are now around 8 minutes away from the next National Hurricane Center update, and that will be a full package, meaning we will be seeing a forecast cone be issued on this, seeing how strong of a storm do they think it's going to be over over Cuba and the Bahamas and Bermuda. It was really just shocking seeing them forecasting a Category 5 over Jamaica here with winds of 165 miles an hour. So they expect it to still be a Category 5 hurricane by this afternoon, one that's over central Jamaica.
It wouldn't be surprising if it's around 190.
So I don't think it's going to be that strong over Jamaica there. It will be weakening quickly when it hits Jamaica. But still, a Category 5 rolling through Jamaica is just historic. It's going to be rolling over portions of northern Jamaica as well. So it's really not just the landfall site here that's going to be seeing catastrophic impacts. This does also include St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, all those areas, St. James, St. Anne, Manchester, and Clarendon, all going to be seeing catastrophic impacts from the system as it will be rolling over you as a Category 4 or 5. It's not just going to be a Category 5 at landfall and quickly weakening and just no longer a threat to you guys. You will also be seeing catastrophic wind impacts with the system. Wow.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to forward your stream to my dad quick.
It's around
He sent
86
me the-
minutes
he
away
sent
from the
me the
landfall.
He sent me the update before I even saw it. He
Oh,
said
wow.
892. I'm like, oh, wow. You knew it before me.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
Sharkies, can you let me know as soon as the next update comes out? Oh, wait, hold on. Is it
Yes,
up? Oh,
I
wait, it's
will.
up. Sorry. It's up
It's
here.
out?
Yep. Extremely dangerous Category 5 Melissa about to make landfall in Jamaica. Catastrophic winds, flash flooding, and storm surge occurring on the island. This is their latest update. 185 mile an hour winds, 892 millibars is the current estimated pressure. Public advisory here. I'll go over this. Changes with this advisory. The government of Cuba has issued a hurricane warning for the province of Las Tunas and a tropical storm warning for the province of Camagüey. The Meteorological Service of the Bahamas has discontinued the hurricane watch for the Turks and Caicos Islands. So, of course, there's still a hurricane warning in effect for Jamaica and, of course, the southern provinces of Cuba, with tropical storm warnings in effect for western Haiti. Now, in terms of the impacts here, this is an updated impacts now for in terms of winds and things like this. Winds, catastrophic hurricane force winds are spreading over Jamaica within the Eyewall of Melissa. Total structural failure is likely near the path of Melissa, especially in higher elevation areas where wind speeds atop on the windward sides of hills and mountains could be up to 30% stronger. Do not venture out in the eye as winds will rapidly increase within the backside of the Eyewall. Tropical storm conditions are expected to begin in eastern Cuba this afternoon, with hurricane conditions expected in the hurricane warning area to begin starting tonight into Wednesday morning. Tropical storm conditions are expected in Haiti later today and Wednesday. Hurricane conditions are expected in the southeastern and central Bahamas on Wednesday. Tropical storm conditions are expected in the hurricane conditions are possible in the Turks and Caicos Islands on Wednesday. Make sure this is the most recent update. Yes, it is. Rainfall. Melissa is expected to bring rainfall of 15 to 30 inches in portions of Jamaica, and additional rainfall of 6 to 8 inches, with a localized maximum of 12 inches for southern Hispaniola through Wednesday, with storm total local maximum of 40 inches possible. Catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides are likely. For eastern Cuba, storm total rainfalls of 10 to 20 inches of rain, with local amounts of up to 25 inches, is expected into Wednesday, resulting in life-threatening and potentially catastrophic flash flooding with numerous landslides. Over the southeastern Bahamas, rain is expected to develop later today and continue into Wednesday. Total rainfall of 5 to 10 inches is expected to result in areas of flash flooding. For the Turks and Caicos, rainfall totals of 2 to 4 inches are expected. Heavy rain may begin to affect Bermuda Thursday night. Right, now storm surge. A life-threatening storm surge is likely along the southern coast of Jamaica today. Peak storm surge heights could reach 9 to 13 feet above ground level, near and to the east of where the center of Melissa makes landfall. The storm surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. Storm surge of 5 to 8 feet above normally dry ground is possible in the southeastern Bahamas on Wednesday with for Cuba, my bad. Let me discuss Cuba there. In terms of I do want to discuss Jamaica one last time here. On the northwest coast of Jamaica near Montego Bay, there is a possibility of 2 to 4 feet of storm surge above ground level there. That does include St. James Parish. There is potential for significant storm surge along the southeastern portion of Cuba late today or Wednesday. Peak storm surge heights could reach 8 to 12 feet above normal tide levels. Now remember, Jamaica's 9 to 13 feet, Cuba's 8 to 12 feet, so that's not much lower at all there. This storm surge will be accompanied by large and destructive waves. Storm surge of 5 to 8 feet above normally dry ground is possible in the southeastern Bahamas on Wednesday, and 2 to 4 feet above normally dry ground in the Turks and Caicos Islands on Wednesday. Minor coastal flooding is expected along the coast of Haiti, and surf swells generated by Melissa are expected to affect portions of Hispaniola, Jamaica, eastern Cuba, and the Cayman Islands during the next day or two, likely causing life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. These swells will reach the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands and Bermuda later this week. Please consult products from your local weather office. Next intermediate advisory will be out at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, but we should see another update within an hour, is what I would expect for the potential landfall update. Oops. Okay, sorry, this is...
Oh, that wording is going to get me every time. Last chance to protect your life.
Here, I'll discuss now the discussion and key messages now. Reports from Air Force, Reserve, and NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft show that Melissa has strengthened since the last advisory. The central pressure inside the 15 nautical mile wide eye has fallen to near 892 millibars, and the NOAA aircraft reported flight level winds of 172 knots at 700 millibars. Based on these data, the initial intensity has been increased to 160 knots. The initial motion is now at almost north-northeast at around 8 knots. How fast is that? Shortgis, can you check the advisory?
Which one?
How fast is the Hurricane Center saying Melissa's moving?
9.
9 miles an hour now?
Northeast at 9. Yep,
Okay, so it is speeding
9.
up. This general motion should continue with some increase in forward speed, with the center making landfall in Jamaica in a couple of hours and reaching eastern Cuba late tonight or early Wednesday. After that, a faster motion toward the northeast should bring the center through the southeastern and central Bahamas on Wednesday and near Bermuda Thursday or Thursday night. After passing Bermuda, the cyclone should continue quickly northeastward into the North Atlantic. The new forecast track is similar to the previous track through hour 36 and a little to the north of the previous track after that time. See, Melissa should weaken over Jamaica as the inner core gets disrupted by the mountainous terrain. However, the cyclone should maintain major hurricane status until the center reaches eastern Cuba. After leaving Cuba, Melissa should encounter increasingly southwesterly vertical wind shear that should cause steady weakening. Although the cyclone should still be a hurricane at hurricane strength when it passes near Bermuda, based on global model guidance, Melissa is forecast to become a strong extratropical cyclone over the North Atlantic by hour 96. Now let's discuss the key messages. Jamaica, this is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Take cover now. Catastrophic winds with total structural failure are likely near the path of Melissa's center. Catastrophic flash flooding, landslides, and destructive winds are expected across the remainder of the island, causing widespread infrastructural damage, power and communication outages, and isolated communities. Along the southern coast, life-threatening storm surge and damaging winds are expected through the day. And for Haiti, in the Dominican Republic, catastrophic flash flooding and landslides are expected across southwestern Haiti and southern portions of the Dominican Republic through midweek. In Haiti, extensive damage and isolation of communities is likely. Tropical storm conditions are expected later today and Wednesday. For eastern Cuba, heavy rainfall, flash flooding, and landslides are expected soon. Life-threatening storm surge and damaging winds are likely to begin later today. Complete all preparations now. Southern and southeastern and central Bahamas, as well as the Turks and Caicos Islands. Hurricane conditions, life-threatening storm surge, and heavy rainfall are expected across portions of the southeastern and central Bahamas on Wednesday. Complete preparations by tonight and follow local official guidance. Tropical storm conditions, heavy rains, and significant storm surge are expected in the Turks and Caicos Islands on Wednesday. Now let's look at the latest National Hurricane Center forecast and what they are forecasting. Is it this updated? No, it's not. So they are forecasting winds of 150 miles an hour within 12 hours or so. So by tonight, it will still be a powerful Category 4. It will be over Cuba as a Category 3 strength system and moving over water still as a high-end Category 2. So it could be blowing through the Bahamas as a possible major hurricane. We'll get the updated cone here in a moment. Man, okay, expected to exit Jamaica still as a powerful Category 4. Let's see. Man.
The edge of the eye is about to move onshore here. About another 2 minutes and the edge of the eye is moving onshore.
Let's pull up the latest. Wow, yep. Just so close here. So they're likely getting the Eyewall right now.
This could still be intensifying too, the way that it looks.
Not seeing any weakening, are you?
No. It's maintained its composure. It looks even stronger.
This really just has not fizzled out at all.
I don't know. We're definitely gonna have to do a post analysis on here. Make sure you hit me up when you're gonna do your reanalysis.
Yes,
We should do it together.
exactly. We'll be doing it in the Discord server,
Oh yeah.
up in the reanalysis channel.
I definitely think that it's probably around 190, 195. It's definitely gonna be upgraded in TCR. There's no way.
hmm
There's no way. I
I will
mean,
be doing my reanalysis on Thursday on this system.
Thursday. Okay. Do you want to hit me up in the end when you're gonna do that, and then we'll do it together?
Yes, I'll ping you.
All right. Perfect.
This is going to be a lot of research is going to be needing to be done on Melissa and trying to figure out its intensity.
Definitely, because it either peaked at 9 a.m. or likely 9 a.m. It's probably gonna be right at landfall. I think it's
Yes.
gonna be where peak is.
I think it may be peaking now. I'd hope its peak has already happened and it's going to be weakening due to land interaction. But I mean, it just doesn't look like anything's really fizzled out. Cloud tops have warmed, but really the whole CDO, the whole core of the system here, has just stayed strong. So I'm not really seeing much weakening at all. Nothing's too obvious. Yeah, really just solid Category 5 making landfall in Jamaica there. Nothing really going to prevent it from being a Category 5. I was just
I don't think
hoping
it's
this
gonna
would be
weaken at
sloppy
all.
at
It's not
landfall.
gonna weaken at all. No, it's not gonna weaken at all till it's literally about to make landfall too. I mean, the edge of the eye is now on shore. Actually,
Yep.
let me double check here. It looks like it. 1 minute ago, it is. Yeah, it's pretty much on shore near Crawford right now.
All right, Casper, you're back. Oh, you're seeing recon data?
Okay. Yeah.
Are they flying in again?
Are they?
I think that's slightly old. I'm not sure.
Huh?
Something I just found. I'm not sure if it's old or not. I haven't looked too much into it.
I think that's old.
That
I don't
image.
think that they've flown into it from the northeastern side recently.
Does it show that you said they were like looking like they were on the edge? Did they not
That's on the
fly in?
26. Wait, no. That says 2000. I'm not sure. It says.
1026, 2000.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just out of date or whatever. Um, but yeah, that looks to be older imagery on the system. It's a lot more solid right now. Okay, Recon is leaving. Yep, so they are not getting the northeastern side of the system. Well, so where were the highest flight level winds found, Casper?
Where were the highest flight level winds found? I'm not sure. I think it was northeast,
Northeast?
where I'd expect them to be.
I don't
I'd
think they
expect
even
them to be,
sampled
yeah.
the northeast recently. These past two recon missions, they have not sampled the northeastern side.
Was the southern side chase?
Southern side, okay.
Was it? Alright.
Oh boy. Okay,
So that means those
something
winds could
is
be
worth.
stronger then, right, on the northeastern side?
It could be 167 knots. We're rounded to 195 miles per hour, so it's probably gonna get upgraded in TCR. Yeah, I don't know. This is just nuts, and it doesn't look like it's weakening at all, even with how close it is to land. It's not gonna weaken probably until landfall. Until the center of the eye is over land, I don't think it's gonna weaken.
Man, okay, just such a solid hurricane there. Man, alright. So, Casper, so you think it could be even stronger there because they did not sample the northeastern side?
Well, now that I think about it, I mean, let me take a look at the loop.
Yeah, satellite loop on it.
I mean, I'm not quite sure. It very well could be. As you said, yeah, the aircraft haven't sampled that part of the storm, but then again, it's now approaching Jamaica. Although I don't think there's been absolute weakening across the whole storm.
hmm
I do think there's probably the possibility that those winds have probably been slightly suppressed as a result of interaction with Jamaica. That northeast side is the first quadrant to move ashore.
Yes.
So, I mean, who knows really? I mean, the reason we can't get aircraft down there to check up is because, obviously, as I said, it's overland, and there's going to be some risk in that.
Yes. Wow. So it
Also,
could have been
I'm not
stronger
quite
earlier.
sure. mean,
Here, I'm gonna send you
I-
something, Chase. A picture
I've seen a
from
few
Treasure
people-
Beach.
Seen a few people say it could probably go up to 170 knots. It could be up to 170 knots. I mean, if you look at those drop zones over the past few days,
I shared it off my phone.
they don't, those conversions that you see, supporting 155, 160 knots now, very, very small part of the radius maximum wind has been sampled as a result of that drop zone, or essentially a fluid trace. There's really not much you're sampling there, and who knows, you could have 5 to 10 knots higher
True,
around
yeah.
the radius maximum wind, and we don't even know about it because we can't drop all these drop zones everywhere to check for those winds. Exactly, right? But to begin with, it's very hard to get drop zones in the radius maximum wind, especially when it's so tight like this, in such a tight core and such a powerful hurricane. You have to get it on point. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to sample those winds at all. Really, at the level that we've managed to do a few times, thanks to those hurricane hunters. Can I just say, we need to give credit to them, because the reason
Yes.
that we've got this data is because of them and their expertise in this field to be able to get us this data. Otherwise, we won't have it. It's absolutely critical that we get all this data to see exactly what's happening.
Yes.
So we do have to thank them for it. But yeah, no, it's absolutely difficult to really get those drops on measurements all the time. And the fact that we've gotten it this many times, I think I'd consider us lucky. Really, really critical data that we're getting from this. Especially when we see, a few, at least yesterday, some of those flight level wind measurements were actually quite low. With the help of drop zones, we've managed to kind of identify those winds are a bit stronger at the surface than what flight level winds might entail. So,
Yeah,
again,
I noticed that the
really
winds were
helpful, those
weaker,
drop zones.
apparently, compared to satellite estimates. Do you think that those winds were actually stronger? Like when it was a Category 4?
Can I just say, there's a lot we don't know. There is a lot we don't know. I mean, one thing that we need to consider is the fact that the storm isn't moving as fast. So,
Oh, yes.
estimate it the traditional way, when we've got a database of systems moving normally at 10, 15 miles per hour westwards, compared to Melissa stalling every now and then, there's a bit of a difference there. And that movement speed really does have an effect on those winds. So,
Yes.
there's a lot we don't know, because the structure does entail a powerful hurricane, and we haven't really had upper echelon data coming in until recently to show that it is an upper echelon storm. But
That's a good point.
it's a lot. There's a lot we don't know, right? But now we found out a lot. Now we know what it is, and again, it'll be up to reanalysis to really check and to look through in a bit more detail to see actually what might have happened, and we'll see what changes are made. But it also does remind us that we do need to see what more improvements and what more research can we do to make sure that we don't get such kind of discrepancy again. It's really important that we're on point, because lives are at risk.
Yes.
So yeah, research. And one thing I'd also say as well is that this is a gold mine for research. I mean, so many things have happened with Melissa. It's been within radar range for so many days now.
Yes.
We've had too many recon missions to count. And again, there's so many abnormal things that have happened with Melissa. Really important that we go and research into this, because it's going to be lots of discovery I think we're going to get out of Melissa and the data that we have.
We can
I
save
am
more
low-key
lives.
excited. Yeah, in the long run, yeah, exactly. I'm low-key excited to see what comes out of this, because, we've seen not one, but pretty much two mergers of Eyewalls, right? Coming
Yes.
in Eyewall, out Eyewall. We've seen these mergers, not one, but two. There's actually a really good animation that I managed to get on my computer off the second attempt. And yeah, I mean, lots of incredible things have happened, and there's going to be lots of room for research and lots of room for innovation here. I think we could do really good after this.
Yes. And so, why do you think it was only really forecasted to hit as a Category 4? Why do you think it's just gotten worse and worse? What do you think's the main reason for that?
Worse in what sense? What's the
Or
worst
like
here?
a Category 5 now at landfall, not just a minimum Cat 5, a higher end Cat 5. What do you think's the cause of this?
Um, I just think we need to really consider that well, first of all, we got stronger intensity initially, and
Hmm.
that took Melissa a bit further south, a bit further southwest than what was initially predicted, so it actually gained a bit of time. Although we are now seeing a bit of a faster landfall, uh, for some reason, it is moving a bit more quickly.
Hmm.
But it did move further southwest, so there is a bit of a greater distance that Melissa ended up tracking over. As a result of that stronger initial intensity. Stronger initial intensity managed to get the warm core up a bit further higher. Uh, I mean, if anything, that might be part to, you know, again, warm core strengthening. We managed to get the warm core go with a higher depth, and that's we could probably see that through those extraordinary water vapor temperatures. I mean,
Hmm.
okay, so you've probably seen water vapor temperatures going down to a -2.5 degrees, which is absolutely incredible. We haven't seen Pacific typhoons in the modern era. I mean, going from 2016, we
Hmm.
haven't seen Pacific typhoons get this low. It's incredible. That's probably, you know, that probably suggests to us that that warm core has probably been extremely deep, vertically, probably really high up.
Yes.
And that was probably what led to influence more from the upper level motion, the upper level flow, which took it a bit further southwest, and that's why we are up here. Now, why does this matter? Well, you know, it managed to get itself the good environment for longer, so it's been around over high oceanic heat content, moving slowly, albeit moving somewhat with some
Hmm.
speed. But high oceanic heat content and the favorable environment to obviously maintain its very high intensity. But we also got to consider that this environment wasn't actually perfect, and that is actually what got this so-called perfect result.
Yes.
I've seen a few people talk about how this kind of minimal shear environment actually managed to keep those concentric bands from consolidating much further,
Oh, yeah.
and as a result, we managed to get these concentric bands developing to some extent, but they just they just merge with the inner core because they can't consolidate, and obviously they just merge and essentially they just get absorbed.
Hmm.
Sorry, I should say absorbed. They just get absorbed within the inner core, because they're too weak and they just go in. Is what they can't hold up on their own, and and yeah, it prevents significant eyeball replacement cycle events taking part, and you get these things called mergers, which have very little effect on intensity, it seems. So that's why we've managed to maintain. First of all, we managed to maintain a really high intensity, Category 5 intensity for so long. But two, we managed to go even higher, way beyond expectations.
Yes.
And now we've got an absolutely mind-blowing intensity now, shattering records, and we're going to get an absolute catastrophe in Jamaica. I mean, I'm going to be honest, we were meant to get a catastrophe in Jamaica anyway, but this just
Yes.
makes things a lot worse, and you know it's much more eerie at this point, really. This wasn't supposed to happen at this scale. It blows everything out of the water.
Hmm.
My mind is blown.
And what do you think this kind of research can help us do to learn more about these storms and kind of predict just how bad they can really be?
Well, first of all, we need to learn how to estimate tropical cyclones a bit better. Still, there's a lot of room for improvement in that regard
Hmm.
because we do have some, as we see with flight level winds, they're going to be a bit low, and we kind of need to rethink about how those flight conversion ratios are being considered, how they're being used. We've already had some research happening by some people in this regard, but nothing officially published
Hmm.
yet. It's going to be a while until that happens, but yeah, lots of research. And Melissa is going to help us, support us in doing this, because it isn't one of those abnormal cases where, a bit of discrepancy between the estimates and not everything actually goes the way that it's supposed to. Yeah, we need to really figure out how to estimate these intensities through flight level winds with consideration of drop zones a bit more, seeing actually what would the procedure be behind it. How do you tackle it? How do you understand what's going on? And how do you take into consideration all the data to estimate the intensity a bit better? With the kind of surge and with this kind of AI boom, we'll be able to look into deep learning and machine learning a bit more just to see how can we implement those methods to estimating intensity with old data. There's a lot we can go with that, really. But also, let's see how can we consider radar data a little bit more.
Yes.
I think we look at flight level winds and a little bit too much here. I mean, that's what we've been doing for many, many, many years with hurricanes and aircraft reconnaissance. But we also need to consider that, there's a lot of other features that come into play. You got storm structure, and you've also got to take into account the radar capabilities as well. We've got massive spatial, coverage that happens out of a radar. So I think we also need to account for surface observations and how we get all these data sources, like data come from radar. We need to deploy high-resolution radar, not drop zones, surface buoys, that are going to be around.
Yes.
Placing them out in many areas, and making sure that we have high-resolution, high-quality radar to be able to track these systems. Again, the only reason that we managed to figure out what's happening with Melissa, really, and it gives us a bit of a better idea of what's actually happening with the intensity, which is governed by inner core structure, it is through radar, very effective way. That's how we've been able to figure out what's actually happening with the inner core, what influences that might have on intensity. So many factors that come in and really, helped identified through the presence of radar data.
Yes. I did want to ask, when's the last time we've had this much data on such a powerful storm?
Well, this isn't nowhere near, or so should I say, this is nowhere near the most data that we've had on a powerful storm, really. There's a lot really to ask for still. We don't have Doppler. I don't think this is Doppler radar that we have in right now. We can't measure velocity. I mean, any modern hurricane making landfall on the continental United States will probably have more data than Melissa right now.
But I mean, like, to this intensity, like sub 900 millibars.
Yeah, I mean, in that regard, yeah, no, you're right. I mean, let's consider, and like to begin with, you don't get many of these storms at this intensity anyway.
Yes.
So that's that pointed out already. But let's also consider Haiyan. There's been lots of research going into it because we managed to get quite a bit of data on it. We didn't have aircraft reconnaissance.
Yeah.
No, we didn't have aircraft reconnaissance, that's right. But we definitely did have radar data. And it was Doppler radar as well. So not only did we have reflectivity data, we also have velocity. And that's where we got a lot of our research. Obviously, we got all this data from the radar in the Philippines, which was very helpful, absolutely. And that was really supportive, at least maybe not in real time, I don't know. I'm not sure if we might get velocity radar in post-analysis here, like from Jamaica, we don't know. We're going to see what the researchers do. They're going to get all the data, they're going to have it all the best with regards to getting all that data because they'll be researching it intensively. Lots of people. Again, it's a gold mine, lots of opportunities.
Do you think this is more than Haiyan in terms of more data?
Yeah, probably. I'm just going back through all these to figure out exactly what might have had more data. And to be honest, you might be right. This probably might have the most data that we've seen of an upper echelon tropical cyclone. It is incredible. Yeah.
Wow. It's unfortunate though, because when we get all this data, that means it's most likely hitting land.
Actually, now that I think about it, to be honest,
Hmm.
uh, I mean, look, if we have to expand it a bit, we're not going to have many tropical cyclones at all, let alone in the Atlantic, make landfall at an intensity of around 160, 165 knots.
Hmm.
You know, that just doesn't really happen very often. If
Yeah.
we had to expand it a little bit and consider storms that maybe Category 5 intensity, let's look at Maria, for example. I mean, it didn't make landfall at Category 5 intensity, nor did Katrina, nor did Irma, but you know,
Hmm.
they were very strong, powerful hurricanes uh, at Category 5 intensity that got really intense measurements. I mean, you got aircraft reconnaissance,
Hmm.
Doppler radar, surface observations as well, buoys out there, oil rigs, you name it. Those are the kind of surface observations which would have been really good in Melissa that we didn't quite have all of it.
Yes.
You know, I think we definitely could have had more data. This
Hmm.
isn't the most data we've had for sure.
There's always
But I
more to
think we
do.
just need to. Yeah, exactly. And I think we just need to appreciate that, you know, for this intensity, actually, we're doing really good with data. I think
Yes.
the fact that we know we're quite solid on this intensity and what it kind of looks like and everything. We're seeing pictures all over the place, screenshots, all these images, all these plots of radar data,
Hmm.
and you know, and all these reconnaissance aircraft data. You know, we see all of this, and this is 160 knots. I mean, this is incredible. This is still quite a lot of data, and it's
Yes.
really helping us here. So I think we really need to be thankful that we got all this data. We could be off much worse. We see this in the Western Pacific.
Hmm.
There's a lot of storms, and the North Indian Ocean as well. I
Yes.
mean, there's a lot of these storms in the southern hemisphere as well. You know, you see all these storms that you can't actually get too much can't get too much data on it. The data's kind of limited. You know, there's not much around to observe the storm structure or what's actually currently happening internally.
Hmm.
This is quite good what we have right now. Uh, and of course, there's a lot better that we can do, and what we do more is going to definitely help us in the future in terms of
Yes.
estimation, and obviously, you know, helping numerical weather prediction because obviously the data that we get in real time gets fed in, assimilated into them for runs. Very
Hmm.
important, right? We have it good over here. In this case, we're quite lucky to have the amount of data that we have, but we've had more before. And I think there's always more that we can do here, and I'm
Yes.
sure that'll be something that you know, that many countries decide to implement in the future.
Yes. Just it's incredible. We're getting so much data on this storm, so much research potential on this. Going to be taking many months and years to analyze this system and get a lot of use that data to help save lives. So I did want to mention
Yeah,
though the
absolutely.
latest National Hurricane Center forecast does have it as 150 miles an hour, a high end Cat 4 by the time it's in between Jamaica and Cuba. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. You know, we're really not going to see like shocking amounts of degradation of like through Jamaica. As I've already said, we're going to have a very formidable hurricane coming off Jamaica. Nonetheless, those you know the terrain and the land interaction isn't going to be massive. We are going to get a strong hurricane coming off to Jamaica, and once again, get that 150 miles per hour intensity between Jamaica and Cuba in that strait. With the possibility of a rebound, a Category 5 cannot be ruled out. We're going to get a very strong hurricane going into southeastern Cuba, and the urban area of Santiago de Cuba is needing to watch closely. They are going to be the next big population area probably hit. Uh, all preparations should be rushed to completion as soon as possible. We're going to have some pretty significant impacts in that region.
Yes. Even if it's not a Category 5, it could still slam as a powerful Category 4. There's not much difference between those two intensities.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it still has it exiting Cuba there with winds of 115 miles an hour, so still a major hurricane. And by the time it plows through the Bahamas, winds are 110 miles an hour in their latest forecast. So are you thinking it could be a major hurricane by the time it reaches the Bahamas?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I pointed out across a few of my videos that, you know, there's actually a few Google DeepMind ensemble members. I'm not sure if this is still the case, but over the
Yes.
past few days, it's been the case. Some of the guidance has actually pointed to an additional last intensification phase
Yes.
after the Bahamas, once it gets a better aligned with the nearby mid-latitude jet.
Yes.
So
Jet
lots of
interaction, right?
strengthening opportunity there. Yeah, I mean, look, there's not really. Again, there is still some discrepancy. Not all the members do actually intensify. Not all the model solutions intensify at that point. But there is a good possibility for some intensification at that point still, nonetheless. And yeah, again, Bermuda should probably watch out. It's a little bit uncertain what they're going to be getting. I mean, the point closest to Bermuda is now at 85 knots. We could still get a formidable hurricane going through Bermuda, and they should definitely watch out.
Yes. And
But
what
there's
about
probably
Atlantic
likely to
Canada?
be weakening at that point happening. Good question. I've seen some of the guidance point out to having a pretty strong post-tropical cyclone going nearby. Definitely watch out for that one. Get information from Environment Canada. They'll have everything. Probably updates on the system.
Hmm.
We'll see. I don't know really. I'll have to look into. I'll have to look a bit more into what the models project with regards to the evolution of the post-tropical system. But if we do get a sting jet developing in the right place, then there could be some pretty significant impacts in Newfoundland as well. So we'll have to watch out for that one.
Yes. We got so many areas to discuss, but right now our main focus is on Jamaica. Any more preparedness tips you'd have for those in northern Jamaica there, like these parishes in like Trelawney and St. James? They're those areas that aren't getting hit directly just yet, but they are going to be getting the core. Any final tips for them?
Um, s- Seek shelter. I literally have. Again, I'm lost for words. There's a lot of risk here.
Yes.
There's
Just
nothing
stay
more we
away
can
from.
say.
Mhm.
Just get into a reinforced structure, stay away from windows, get into the most reinforced part of your building possible. There's
Mhm.
no other way of surviving this. You need to be in the best structure possible. Like, you need to seek shelter now to save your life. There's no other way. You have to
Yes.
be in shelter. This is equivalent to an EF4 type tornado, high end EF4 tornado, actually. 184, 185 miles per hour is around the high end EF4 area for a tornado in the US. And there actually was I think, EF4 tornado in Jamaica before.
Oh
So,
well.
again, this is something that we can't stress lightly. You just need to be sheltered at this point. It's life or death.
Yes, and it could have gusts even stronger. Casper, I remember you saying 250 miles an hour. What would that be, Sharkius, on that EF scale?
250 is well into the EF5 threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Well into it. Like, that is extreme high end EF5. Even 215, 210 miles per hour is high end EF5. So again,
Yes.
it is equivalent of, say, like the Bridge Creek Moore tornado or some of the tornadoes from the 2011 super outbreak. Again, this is just those wind gusts. Again, it's not good. And
Mm-hmm.
again, those are just estimates on wind speed. But Bridge Creek was actually not assumed, but had Doppler radar measurements of 321. But at the time it hit Bridge Creek, it was actually around 250 around there. So again, the worst damage ever seen from, like, the worst damage ever documented was there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what this hurricane could do on a wider scale. So again, please, and it could be there for a way longer time.
Yes. It's not just going to be for a couple minutes.
It's not going to be for a couple minutes. It's going to be hours. And
Now,
with it sitting there like that, it's just not good. Everything is probably going to be gone. I don't know. It's just, ugh, I can't.
now about the aftermath of the system after it impacts some of these areas. What's next? What's next for them? What's the next stage for recovery?
People need to be careful. They need to be extremely careful. Again, the wreckage can actually cause death, serious injury, especially when it comes to power lines. One of those common things talked about with regards to aftermath and the risks involved is going near power lines. If you touch them, they could be live still. You could die on instant, literally touching them.
Mm-hmm.
Flood waters, carbon monoxide poisoning from generators. There's some of those things. there's big risk, and that's why. And then going through dead bodies and everything again, a disease spread. I'm not saying
Yes.
there's going to be disease spread in Jamaica widespread, but some of the poorest areas of the world have seen it.
Hmm.
There's so much risk with the aftermath. The
That is the
aftermath.
worst one right there. You are right about that, the disease part. And there's something we
Yes.
need to stress a lot. Back when I was talking about tornadoes, the EF5 tornado that struck Joplin carried around a lot of fungus and disease as it was the tornado's aftermath. A lot of people died from that. So again,
Oh, wow.
this hurricane could likely be carrying, again, help spread disease. And that's, I don't know if you knew that, Chase, that in Joplin,
Hmm.
there was a lot of people that had to have surgery in order to survive
Wow.
from this fungus. There was a fungus that was spreading around from survivors and all that. So again, these very powerful storms could harbor some diseases within them. I mean, they carry diseases around. I mean, you got a bunch of air blowing diseases transferred by air, as at least that's what we're
You
told.
also have
So
contaminated water.
exactly that too, and especially the water's gonna be very contaminated because I mean you have houses underwater, so there's a lot of stuff that'll be floating around. A
Hmm.
lot of stuff, even whole houses, like
Yes.
seen with Helene. So this is something to really, really be careful of. And even in the aftermath, it's probably important to stay sheltered, even in the aftermath, because right after the aftermath is probably the worst part. The worst time to go is probably right after.
Yes. So, I mean, the next step on what to do really is just there's going to be search and rescue operations, people clearing roads, trying to restore power. How long do you think it's going to be taking for the power to get restored across portions of eastern Jamaica compared to western Jamaica?
Um, that's like, how would you know? I mean,
Hmm.
the entire area has got to be unrecognizable. There's no way to really know. Oh,
Casper, any guesstimations?
No, I mean, yeah, he's right. There's absolutely no way to know.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Wow.
just something to note right now. It's turning a little bit more to the north.
Yeah.
It's gonna miss Black River.
Well, I mean, Black River's still getting impacts, but
Right, but it's not gonna. The
mhm.
eye's not gonna directly go over it anymore.
It's like it's
It's
going for
actually
White
worse.
House.
Oh, it's the worst case scenario too. Look at Black
Storm,
River. It's gonna be on the
yeah.
eastern side of the Eyewall.
Storm surge.
Oh my gosh.
And so it is moving more north now. Wow.
Yeah.
Landfall might be delayed by another 30 minutes then.
Hmm.
Yeah, something to note because we've obviously got this terrain deflection. That's why we've got this northward shift happening. That kind of disruption of the original movement.
Correct.
We see it with Taiwan. We see it with
Yes.
Taiwan. We have this terrain effects on the deep layer circulation, and we do have some change in the movement. It's important to note.
I'm actually glad you brought up Taiwan because again, these mountainous terrains, I mean, even with in real life, you got these like I'm gonna bring this up too. In 2014, there was a tornado in Valonia, Arkansas that should have been rated EF5 in my opinion. It traveled down a mountain and rapidly gained intensity. Like it spiked all the way up to possibly EF5 intensity after being a weak EF2 on the other side. So again, these mountains have a huge effect on these storms.
Hmm.
So and for hurricanes, they are more disruptive if mountains are there. I mean,
Yes.
if it's more flat terrain, that's when hurricanes can last longer. But again, there'll be more diversion and a lot more weakening in mountainous terrain. So, with how big the mountains are in Jamaica, it's gonna help kind of push the storm a little bit more to the west. But I still think it's too late to push it away for good. It's gonna
Yes.
make landfall.
Now, about that, it is going to be moving over less land then, because it's a little bit
Yes,
more the western side.
and that
Yeah,
means it's
absolutely. I mean,
gonna.
the whole of
Yeah, that means it's gonna.
it's going
That
to
means it's
make it a
gonna
bit
go
lower.
right
Yeah.
through. It'll intensify even faster.
Hmm.
On the other side, we could see probably a Cat 5 then. On the other side.
Do you think it could be a Category 5 by the time it exits Jamaica?
It depends. It really depends on how long it's over land.
Hmm.
I think it could be a high end Category 4 probably after it exits Jamaica.
Wow. Now, do you guys think that this is going to help weaken it some before it makes landfall because it's turning more to the north? It's giving it more time before
Yeah,
landfall, or do you think it's not going to make a
No,
difference?
absolutely not. It looks even better.
I was going to bring this up actually with the fact that we do have some time.
Hmm.
We still do have some time before landfall. Uh, we have the storm. We have the center of the storm. literally moving parallel to the coast pretty much
Mm-hmm.
for some time now. We are going to have that eastern side of the core being disrupted, and obviously disruption isn't going to be good, and we are probably going to see. Uh, but one thing to note, even if there is going to be weakening, I am going to suspect that there is some minimal weakening happening. But even if there is minimal, it's practically nothing. We are
Mm-hmm.
still upper echelon, category 5. There's going to be. It's too late. There is going to be some disruption, but it's going to be minimal at best, or at worst, I should say, for the
Mm-hmm.
storm.
Something important I want to bring up right now. Those of us, like all of us, me, Chase, and Casper here, who are telling everyone to take shelter. Breaking news just came in that 800 of the 800 shelters that authorities have set up, less than half are occupied.
Oh
Total of
wow.
about 6,000 people. So I'm hoping people got out of there if that's the
Mm-hmm.
case, but
The
that's just
problem
not
is,
not something you want to not something you want to hear.
Jamaicans don't want their stuff stolen or whatever, and there's a risk of that happening if they leave their shelter, or like if they leave their house, or leave their structure.
I mean,
So
it's gonna be gone either
yeah.
way. There's nothing. I mean, I get it if you want to like save something being stolen, but if it's gonna get destroyed, there's no point.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lose your life.
Yes.
Like it's just
Your
not
life is
worth
more
it.
important.
Exactly. And this is. I mean, it doesn't even look like it's weakening. It looks like it's getting stronger.
I'm sure,
It
Casper, what are you
still looks like
seeing in
it's
the
getting
storm with
fine.
the CDO? Some of those cloud tops are warming a little bit. Is that indicative of anything?
Unless the core looks like it's a little bit weaker, I don't think so. Because the core still looks very, very intense. And the fact that it's still over water, it still has time to intensify a little bit more.
Yeah,
Until
I
that
mean,
center of the eye is over land, we probably won't see any weakening.
Well, I mean, it's going to have
just
some
kind
land
of.
interaction.
I'll have to see. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any sort of degradation in the central dense overcast on the eastern side, yeah. I mean, I would suspect that there is probably some disruption to the core. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, it's almost at landfall now. Typically with mountainous areas, as we've seen with Hurricane Otis, for example, 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. It's normal to have degradation before landfall with mountainous areas, and it would imply some weakening. It shouldn't be surprising at all. But then again, the extent of the weakening and whether the weakening is actually negligible or not, most likely it is negligible. We don't really know the extent too much. One thing to note is that the appearance could probably hold on a bit better, despite some of this interaction. I mean, most of this impacts to the core, most of this disruption is probably going to be a bit more internal. So again, we don't really know to what extent disruption it is, unless we look at the radar. I mean, actually, what does the radar look like right now?
I don't think
Maybe
we
you can
got
pull
any.
it
Oh,
up.
this is a little bit out of date though. This radar frame. So this radar frame was
I
like an
wouldn't be
hour old.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's been disrupted on the eastern side a little bit, the core, but then again, who knows? And yeah, I mean, basically the impacts are going to be practically the same. It's probably negligible.
Yep.
So
It likely was intensifying too before landfall, but now if it's weakening, it's probably the same intensity as it was when they measured it when they went in the eye.
Uh,
that's probably true. Yeah.
I did want to ask here, for the secondary hazards on the system, stuff such as mudslides and things like that. Even after the storm passes, do you think mudslides will be possible even when the skies are clear?
Yes, for sure. They could definitely still happen, especially if the areas are still flooded and muddy and the terrain is
Mm-hmm.
just, I mean, the terrain's going to be very well like loose and stuff like that. And even rescue efforts can cause landslides.
Yes. Oh, that's
So
true. Yeah.
again, they will very much be possible after the hurricane is over. So again, mud is like something, it's very, very slippery and it's going to be like that for a while, especially with all the rain that's being dropped on the island. It's just going to be wet, muddy terrain for days and maybe even a week or two. So again, landslides would be very well be possible for at least the first 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I think the first 3 days of the aftermath is when the landslides would be most likely, but they'll start to fizzle out after that.
So I want to go back into looking at the satellite imagery on the storm here. And are there any interesting things you can see? Like, let me pull up more visible imagery, like mesovortices and things like that in this right here. Let me see if this actually works or not. Let me just close that out here. All right, any interesting features you're seeing, Casper, in the eye of the system, or any cool little features you can point out? Any mesoscale features?
First of all, Let's begin by pointing out those. There's a ton of mesovorts in the eye all the time rotating. Usually, if we see lots of mesovorts merging at some point, we'll see massive pressure drops happening in the storm. I mean, we've seen that over the course of the past few days with Hurricane Melissa moving slowly westwards, then obviously turning northwards. We've seen lots of these mesovorts going around and merging. In fact, there was quite a nice animated visible loop yesterday, and there was one singular mesovort that was very extremely well defined, just spinning around near the center of the eye, just going, and it was just going. It looked
Oh, wow.
quite astonishing, and now you have all these multiple mesovorts. There's actually quite a good animation recently, a few hours ago, which is spinning 4 mesovorts, literally just going around.
Wow.
Yeah, those can have big implications on the evolution of the system if they end up merging. We've probably seen a few merging of these mesovorts over the past few over the past few days.
So do you think these are going to merge before landfall?
Honestly speaking, probably not. These mesovort mergers do happen, but they do take some time as well. And yeah, I mean, with the fact we also got to consider that there's also the factor of land interaction, so there is going to be core disruption at the same time. Again, we'll have to see what the surface observations suggest. I mean, what we had an 892 millibar drop sonde support a few hours ago. We'll be able to see to what extent the system has changed ever since then, once we take a look at that landfall data that we can get, especially from the storm chasers on the ground, because they'll have those, they'll be able to measure the pressure.
Yes. Now, what about the feeder bands and the tornado potential on the system? Because I believe there's going to be a tornado threat for parts of eastern Jamaica. What do you think?
Yeah, if you look at the infrared imagery, you'll be able to see quite a few supercells popping up there and there, moving across. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, honestly. But to be honest, that would probably be at least the concerns. I mean, again, we have to consider that there are going to be significant periods and areas of flash flooding and landslides, and I'd consider that a threat to probably be more worried about.
Yes.
I mean, we're also going to consider that although sometimes, I mean, we've seen with Milton, you can get some pretty strong tornadoes coming out of these tropical cyclones. Usually, tornadoes are fairly weak with tropical cyclones, and therefore, it's not too much. We also got to consider the frequency, their spatial extent, which isn't going to be too much. With the central dense overcast now moving in, the outer bands are probably not going to have too much of that. They're probably not going to be too associated with any tornado risk. There'll probably be more of that central dense overcast. Again, it's not going to be too big of a tornado risk. Tornado risk probably does exist, and but it will be fairly weak. And again, impacts from any tornado will probably be much less significant than any sort of landslides and flash flooding that occurs, which have been pointed out as the most significant issues over the past few days.
Yes. Let's see here. What about the interaction with Jamaica's terrain and the rainfall that could be happening with the system? As in, do you think that the rainfall rates are going to be higher because of the mountainous terrain?
Yeah, and that's why we've always had National Hurricane Center and the Weather Prediction Center put out extreme rainfall forecast totals. We're talking 30, 40 inches. Again, and same goes with the Tiburon Peninsula in Haiti. We have those extreme terrain areas along the peninsula and on the island of Jamaica that will provide the opportunity for strong orographic lift, and and you get that significant rainfall and subsequent landslides and flash flooding. We've always expected significant rainfall in those areas as a result, and yeah, it's not surprising at all.
Yes. Let's see, what about here? How vulnerable do you think the power grid is going to be to the system in terms of like power outages, things like that?
Any sort of power grid is going to be vulnerable to a hurricane like this. Again, this is an unprecedented upper echelon Category 5 hurricane. Almost nothing is supposed to be withstanding a hurricane like this. It's going to be catastrophic. We're going to have power outages for several weeks,
Us.
if not
Like
months.
I said earlier, I think it's too low to call it catastrophic. I think it's unprecedented. I mean,
Yes.
Jamaica's never seen anything like this before, and we haven't seen like anything like this in our lifetimes. A landfall like this in the Atlantic since 1935. So
Yes.
this is something that, again, we have never seen. So I'd say unprecedented is the better word for it.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's difficult to emphasize how difficult it's going to be.
Right.
It's nothing short of catastrophic. Catastrophic is the lowest you can really go, and even then, it's a big understatement. I've said for a
Right.
while, it's gonna be. Yeah, there's no
You
word
just
for it.
you can't put it. Yeah, you can't put it into words. It's just
Yeah.
unreal. Unreal.
So what about the marine and port impacts? What do you think is going to be happening to all the ports across Jamaica?
Wiped away.
All infrastructure is going to be absolutely devastating. Again, it's going to be absolutely devastated. Everything. Aid is
Yeah.
going to struggle to come in. Mark my words. Aid is going to be slow coming in initially. There's a little to prevent something like this. You can't do much. It's going to be a big problem. Though one thing that Jamaica does have is in its favour is the fact that it's fairly close to other countries. It might be an island nation, but in terms of maritime waters, they have neighbours. You have, well, unfortunately, Haiti isn't the best neighbour to have, but you have the Dominican Republic. The United States isn't too far away. I mean, getting aid transported by air might not be too difficult. When it comes by helicopter, I guess it's going to be a lot easier. By plane, again, that's going to be difficult as well, because we don't know what the state of the airports is going to be like. What kind of airstrips, what runways are going to be on the island that are going to be able to be used still.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to be happening with regards to that. We'll have to see what the assessment after a passage of Melissa is going to look like, and what can be done at that point. There's a lot of variables to be considered here. Lots can go wrong. Lots probably will go wrong. We'll have to see how responses are coordinated.
And you mentioned
It's going to
how
be
their
highly
neighbors are
dependent.
close by. But like Cuba, they're going to be getting slammed by a major hurricane. Haiti's already gotten catastrophic flooding. Cayman Islands are really the closest set of islands or closest country really to Jamaica that hasn't really seen any crazy impacts. You think they're going to be able to? They're going to be using the Cayman Islands to help out?
I mean, who knows? Again, the United States is probably going to be leading a worldwide effort to be able to have good responses for Jamaica. But with regards to Cuba and Haiti, I mean, they probably wouldn't be the most reliable kind of supporters nonetheless. I mean, they have already had long periods of internal instability. I mean, Haiti practically has no stable governance, and Cuba's relatively in poverty, and they don't have those kind of means and resources. Although they've helped in the past, their help has been rather limited, and it's only going to be worse with the fact that they're going to have a borderline strong Category 4, possibly Category 5 hurricane going into eastern Cuba.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot to consider here. They probably wouldn't be able to get too much help across over to Jamaica. The best bet's probably going to be over to the Dominican Republic and the United States.
Yes. Now, what about the agricultural damages that could be happening across Jamaica? Like crops for bananas, sugar canes, coffee, all that kind of stuff. Just all the crops, in the agricultural economy in Jamaica. How badly do you think that all this could be impacted?
Look, it's again, I'm lost for words to describe how massive the economic cost is going to be for Jamaica. It's going to be, again, it's beyond words. You can't phrase it. You really just can't put into words how massive this damage is going to be. It's going to be extreme. Everything is going to be, there's going to be a lot of loss for Jamaica. There's the possibility that Jamaica could get thrown into internal chaos. Who knows?
Hmm.
There's so much that can happen here. But one thing that I do know for sure is it's going to be hell on earth, and there's going to be a lot of problems, a lot of
Yes.
chaos. It's going to be hell on earth.
Yes. And talk about the vegetation and that kind of damage that's going to be happening across where the corridor of the Eyewall starts rolling through, like Category 5 force winds. How badly do you think the the vegetation's going to be damaged?
It's going to be brown everywhere.
You think a lot of loss of
Literally,
plant life?
That's all I can say. Yeah, literally. I mean, we're probably going to get something like what happened with Dorian in the Bahamas. Like, literally everything is leveled. All the plants shed their leaves. It's all gone. And you've literally just got sticks standing in the air. That's all you're going to have. It's going to be unexplainably catastrophic with that regard. It can't get worse than that.
Sharkius, let us know when the next update comes out.
For the Hurricane Center? Yeah,
Yes,
I
it
got
should
you.
be out at in around 6 minutes or so. Now, discussing about the trees coming down and stuff like that, as you mentioned, just all the vegetation damage and a lot of debris. What kind of effect is that going to happen on the already flooded rivers in terms of like the overflow?
We're probably going to have more. I mean, it's known that vegetation and extensive vegetation being around, areas of flooding and river charge going through. You're going to have a lot of absorption, interception. With some vegetation being in place, and if you don't have it, then there's going to be an increased risk of flash flooding. But then
Yes.
again, we also have to realise that a lot of this flash flooding and rainfall risks in general that happens has already happened before the passage of the hurricane. So, we'll have to see what happens. But with regards to vegetation assisting, going against any sort of flood risk, which by the way wouldn't be too much support anyway because of the amount of rainfall that's happening. Uh, the strongest effects from Melissa, especially when it comes to wind,
Hmm.
it will probably be after the flooding. We also have to consider that flooding, particularly associated with the main core of the storm, is going to happen simultaneously with the winds. So, you bring up a valid point. There's probably going to be some impacts with regards to how effectively vegetation can help against flash flooding and river flows.
Yes.
It will be happening inside the storm. We're probably going to have some problems with that, yeah.
And about the fact that all the trees and like all the, as you mentioned, like sticks, that's just going to be sticks left. And when those start funneling into the rivers, how bad is that going to make the flood threats there when you're adding debris into rivers?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a big problem there.
Yes.
Let's also just talk about how that eyewall lightning is still continuing despite this interaction with land. It is not stopping. We still have this enveloped eyewall lightning structure
Hold that up.
happening, which is absolutely incredible.
Here, I'll go more zoomed in on the system. I didn't realize it's still having a whole bunch of lightning. Zoom in. Wow. That's what you mean right there, right? All that lightning. Even lightning strikes over Jamaica, looks like. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Wow, okay. Looks like it might have calmed down a little bit on the northeastern side. Do you think that would make sense? Because it's now interacting with land?
Yeah. Yeah, sounds about right. Um, I don't know if this was pointed out, but we've also got the 962 millibar observation from Josh Morganman, or
Okay.
iCyclone, which is currently in his position. So that was at 1532Z.
Hmm.
That just under half an hour ago.
Where is he
It
located at?
describes it. Uh, I think he's at White House. I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah, he describes there being threatening power, whiteout, roofs tearing off, gusts like bombs going off,
Hmm.
painful ears, and he is praising the law for solid concrete.
Yes. I did want to ask about the historical comparison with the system and comparing it to other storms like Gilbert and Beryl and Ivan. How much worse is this storm going to be to western Jamaica compared to storms like Beryl, Ivan, and Gilbert?
Well, look, as much as people say that Jamaica's gone through hurricanes, the amount of hurricanes they've gone through isn't actually as common as people think, especially at this intensity or anywhere near it. I mean, again, we got Gilbert at 115 knots. That was the strongest hurricane before this.
Hmm.
That's nowhere near, nowhere near 160 knots, 165 knots, what Melissa might be having right now. So that's something to consider. A barrel made landfall in Curacao
Oh, no, no,
I think it
Beryl.
was
I'm talking
130
about
knots.
Beryl's impacts in Jamaica when it moved just to the
Oh,
south.
Jamaica.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't a direct landfall, and although the impacts were pretty big, though, nonetheless, but again, it wasn't a Category 5, and it was actually more of a low to mid Category 4. I mean, again, when we're talking about an upper echelon Category 5 over here, and compare it there to Beryl's impacts, that's quite noticeable, that's quite significant.
And
You
not
can notice
just a
that.
near miss. It's going to make a direct hit.
And we also got to consider Beryl's kind of kind of angle of approach.
Here's the advisory.
Okay, hold on. There's a new advisory now. They got an update.
Yep, they got an update at 12 p.m. Melissa's Eye approaching the southwestern coast of Jamaica.
Here
Stay
it
in your
is.
shelter. Extremely dangerous, life-threatening
Here, I
situation. Do
got
not
it. I
leave
got
shelter
it.
and glide past it over.
I got it.
So that is 185, 892. It has not changed.
So here, I'll read it. Here, Melissa's Eye approaching the southwestern coast of Jamaica. Stay in your shelter. This is the 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time positioning update. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Do not leave your shelter as the eye passes over, as winds will quickly and rapidly increase on the other side of the eye. Residents should remain in place throughout the passage of of these life-threatening situations or conditions. To protect yourself from wind, the best thing you can do is put as many walls as possible between you and the outside. An interior room without windows, ideally one where you can avoid falling trees, is the safest place you can be in a building. You can also cover yourself with a mattress and wear a helmet for added protection. The next update will be at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time or as needed for landfall. So it's at 18.0 degrees north, 78 degrees west. 18 and 78. And what's the forward speed?
Looks to
9
be
miles per
still
hour,
at,
sped up a little bit.
it's like 10 maybe.
9 miles per hour.
Huh? What is it?
The update has
Um,
9 miles per hour.
9 miles per hour, okay.
9 miles per hour.
Alright, so
Sped
it's
up a little
still...
bit, which is good news for Melissa that's trying to get across Jamaica a little bit quickly.
Mhm.
And that'll help its future ambitions before Cuba.
Unfortunately. Moving north-northeast.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Or 25 degrees, okay.
Oops.
So this will be longer. How long do you think until a landfall is going to be happening?
We're looking at about an hour. I mean, National Hurricane Center seems to be thinking the same.
Yes.
Because they do mention the next update is going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and they also specify this time or as needed for landfalls. They do actually take into account the possibility of a landfall within the next hour or so.
Yes.
They're probably not far off.
Yes. More and more of the eye is now being over portions of Jamaica. Wow, okay. This does include, I believe, I'd like to see more of these places. Is it labels, I think? There we go. So now we can see what kind of areas are already in the eye. New Hope, White House, Fonts Hill, and Crawford are currently in the eye. And where would you say the eye wall is located here? What color of pixels would you say is the eye wall?
Where exactly is this? What's this?
This is infrared imagery. I'm just saying, like what color of pixels on this imagery here do you think is where the eye wall is located? The strongest winds.
Probably red. Actually,
Oh, God. I
black
can't
and
see on the
white.
screen. It's
Is my
screen's
screen not
loading.
working?
I can
Yeah,
see
I'm
it.
just waiting for it to
It's black and white, I think, Chase.
Huh?
wait.
It's not working. It should be working.
It is. I can
I
see
got
it.
it. I can see it now. It's fine.
Okay.
It's loaded for me. That's all it was. It just wasn't
All
loaded
right.
for me. Okay.
Yeah.
The color pixels of the eye wall. Where do you think the strongest winds are located here? Is it in the blues, greens? What would you say?
You're probably talking about reds.
in
Talking
the
about
reds?
reds here, probably. I mean, you have to take into account that the zenith angles here, so you're probably looking a bit. Yeah, you're probably looking a bit inside there. That sounds about right.
Wow, okay, so Black River getting hit by its new market, Savannah Lamar, or one of those southeastern portions of Savannah Lamar, not the metro area. Bluefields as well, that's going to be approaching Darlaston. Spreading further into, this would be, is that, oh wow, so it's actually looks like it could be making landfall in the border between Westmoreland and, here's the border between Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. So it looks like it's going to be making landfall in Westmoreland, actually. Wow, okay. Use
It
the
has
white.
moved really, really far west here.
Yep, now just going, looks like almost due north. Do you think it could make a jog to the west? Or do you think it's just going to go due north or northeast? Or north or northeast?
I don't think we're going to get any explicit westward motion at this time, not anymore. But yeah, we are probably going to get continued movement a bit further north than what was previously expected. I don't know. We'll see. We need to keep monitoring. There could be a lot of changes here last minute, as is possible. You know, we can see the eye wobble sometimes. Got to
Yes.
take that into account. You know, at this point, we could probably narrow it down and say somewhere between Bluefields and Fort Hill is where the landfall's going to be happening.
Font Hill, yep. That's in here is where you're expecting the landfall to be.
Yeah.
But that's just the center. The eye wall's already impacting large areas outside of there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Up. Man, okay. So some areas are already reaching around halftime right now. We're entering the halftime of the storm with them entering the eye. So New Hope, Font Hill, White House, and Crawford, they're all in the eye most likely right now. And more of these areas are going to be entering the eye into the calmness. Got to stay in your shelter as you're approaching the eye. So you do not venture out. Let's see, wow, okay. And let's see more of these things here. Now why has Melissa been moving towards Jamaica? Like, why did it make that northward jog? Here, I'll pull up a model for you.
So you can probably already see it, but if you look at that trough over the southeastern United States, that's exactly what's bringing it north. It's passing eastwards now, going eastwards, and yeah, it's starting to. It forced a break in the ridging between the ridging over the subtropical Atlantic and what's over the Gulf of Mexico and Mexico now. You'll be able to see that obviously there's this gap now, much more clear gap as a result of this trough passing by. It managed to break those two ridges apart and essentially opened the gateway up for Melissa to start moving north.
So it looks like another trough is going to come through, right? A second one?
Yeah, the initial truffle managed to take it through Jamaica, Cuba, and the Bahamas, but it won't be enough to pick up the system entirely and force Melissa to actually phase with it. it'll be that second, much stronger and larger trough that comes and picks up as it heads towards Bermuda. And that's the
Yes.
trough that it'll be phasing with and undergo an extratropical transition with.
So it was unfortunately this trough right here that broke the ridge there to allow for it to go north and try to tug it north. And this next one's going to be tugging it towards Bermuda.
Yeah.
So
I just
that,
sent you something in your DMs, Chase, that you
Yes.
might want to see.
let's see here.
It's a video of what's going on in Black River right now.
Looks like some flooding there. Can't really show it on stream, but yeah, you guys can hear the audio of it. Some gusty winds happening.
Just a few moments ago in Black River. That is on the east side of the eye. It's actually inside the Eyewall still, I think. Because I think it made that western jog and stayed away from Black River. Yeah. So it's
Yes.
still inside the Eyewall.
Oh, now I would like to take a moment to kind of explain what the eyewall is. What would you say the eyewall is, Sharkus? Just to kind of explain what that means, that term.
So the eye wall is the outer edge of the eye on all sides. So that's why you got the north eye wall, the east, west, south eye wall. So anything that's bordering the eye. And I'd say, again, according to these pixels that Chase has pulled up here, so I'd say it's anything outside of those white pixels in the middle. So the blue is the start of that eye wall. The eye wall is, so the eye is basically clear, but there's a bunch of clouds surrounding it. So the eye is clear, but it's just like a big circle in the sky.
Mhm.
So if you were to like look up in the middle of the eye, and I don't know if you see pictures from Recon flying through it, if you look up, you can just see the circle of the eye, and that's why it's called the eye wall, is because it looks like a wall that's just surrounding the outer edge. So that's why we call it the eye wall.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, Casper, what would you say to those who are just having so much hurricane fatigue from this, just watching this for a week? What would you be saying to those Jamaicans who may be in Kingston or northeastern Jamaica who have been just watching this thing blow up for a week and just have mental fatigue from this hurricane fatigue?
Well, let's just get started on talking about like um why this is being done. I mean, if you're continuously watching this and having this so-called hurricane fatigue, as you point out,
Mhm.
you know, the only way that you can really have that be useful and like a good thing to have is really if you act on it. If you guys have prepared and are ready for this, or have been ready for this, and feel like they're going to be confident that they stay alive and that there's not going to be any injury. You guys have your place. You can survive. You have power generator. Or if not, you have food, water. You'll be able to survive. Or all of it. That's great. That's great. The reason that we watch this and the reason that these warnings are continuously being pumped out and the storms being monitored by meteorologists is to give you insight and to give you awareness that this is going to be happening and to give you guys time to prepare and get ready for the eventual damage that does end up happening. So if you end up watching, even if it is for entertainment, you do it as a hobby or whatever, right? Fine, great. And apply it, right? Apply it and do your thing. If you're just sitting there watching and you're obsessed and you just can't stop watching this hurricane, well, you want to act upon it. You've done it upon yourself, really. Look, if you're gonna watch and you're over there, it's also important you prepare.
Yes.
Literally, I mean, I don't have anything else to say really. You have to prepare. You have to do what you need to do. If there's a bit of a threat in the way, and I'm saying it's a bit of a threat, it's I can't say it enough. There is a problem. If you feel like there's going to be a problem in the way, or at least if it is clear that there is going to be a hurricane smashing into you, you have to act. Seriously, I mean, a storm like this as well. You've had meteorologists saying for many days now, this is going to be a historic landfall. You have to heed these warnings.
Yes.
And you really have to act. Otherwise, you're really going to mismanage this kind of threat, this kind of risk, and there's going to be a risk to life. You could die, and that's not an understatement. I mean, big threat here. This is an upper echelon hurricane. We've never seen this before, really.
Yes. It's okay to feel anxious or frustrated at the storm, just tired of it. You just have to act on it, though. You need to prepare when you get all this information. You need to take it seriously.
Yeah, the only way really to kind of stop any sort of fear, any sort of kind of worry, is just being on it, is by actually just working, distract yourself from the fears by working to remove them. Any way
Yes,
you can work to remove them is by actually acting, is by doing something. If you're just gonna
preparedness.
sit there, if you're just gonna sit there not doing anything, you're feeding into the fear because you're just allowing it to happen. Instead of actually combating the problem, you're trying to observe it and just focus on reacting to it. Don't just react to it. Just you stop it. I mean, I
Yes,
know you can't stop it, but in the sense that you really have to act and try and mitigate as much impact as possible, because otherwise there's going to be a bit of a problem, and those fears turn true. The only way fears turn not true, and they don't actually happen, is by uh, familiarizing yourself with a solution,
yes.
by applying a solution.
I did want to ask again for you. What do you think the kind of economic ripple effects are going to be happening across Jamaica? Things like tourism, crops, all that kind of stuff, and potential ports being shut down. What kind of economic losses could Jamaica be looking at?
Look, first of all, let's consider, right, trade and tourism. That requires transport and getting people around and getting things around. When you have a lot of your transport infrastructure, like your airports and your ports, absolutely demolished, those things can't happen anymore, right? So that all shuts down. Let's not forget, tourism is a massive industry for Jamaica, makes a big part of the economy. Once that shuts down, that's a lot of its economy gone. Let's not forget a lot of the other infrastructure, businesses, residences, all that destroyed. Again, that's those can't operate. So basically, your economy just shuts down. It doesn't work. Nothing happens at that point. You're gone. You rely on aid at that point.
Yes.
Aid is the only thing you've got, and aid is one, finite, and two, when all your infrastructure's gone, getting that aid in, as well, as I've said already many times, is going to be slow. So really, you can have a whole collapse of your whole system. And that's why I said there could be an internal crisis.
Hmm.
These kind of internal instabilities is because nothing works,
Yes.
and just pure chaos. Nothing's functioning. Nothing's orderly. So big chaos, big problems, and the ripple effect's going to be endless. And as we've seen Sharkius say for quite some time earlier as well, is for years, decades, we're going to have very big effects, clear effects happening. It's going
Yes.
to be hard to kind of go back to what we were like before Melissa. It's going to be big disaster.
Hmm.
Everywhere is going to feel it. The whole island's going to see everything. It's going to be disaster.
Shirky, is how long did it really take for Jamaica to recover after Gilbert? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head, but
Hmm.
I don't think it took relatively too long, mainly because it wasn't as strong as, say, something like this.
Yes.
Um, Gilbert was only a very low end Cat 4, roughly on the limits of Cat 4 to high end Cat 3. So
Hmm.
I think it only took at least a few months. But for this storm, it's going to be like Maria and Katrina, where it's going to take years.
Yes. Now, what about media and communication challenges? How is this going to be? Why is coverage going to be going dark in some of these areas? Like, why are people not going to be getting many updates or cell service, that kind of stuff with the storm? What's the main cause of that?
Well,
Well, the
you have all your
the damage.
you have all your electricity. You have all your electricity going down, and hence why you're not going to have much internet access. But one good thing is, Starlink is actually deployed on the ground in Jamaica right now,
Yes.
uh, with the government. So at least they'll be up and running a little bit better off than a country without satellite internet.
Hmm.
So that's a good thing to consider. Obviously, not everyone's going to have Starlink access to Starlink. I mean, again, that's for government use. And
Yes.
overall, yeah, a lot of infrastructure is going to be down, and it is going to cause some problems. Some is again understatement. You know, you're looking at massive problems, whole island-wide power outage, almost no internet accessibility. It's going to take a few days to recover, if not a few weeks.
That's just that long until you get a sense of order back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, order. I mean, the fact that you're going to have all this order and instability, you can have things like looting and violence probably going out. Again, this internal political chaos, very likely. Jamaica isn't the most stable country in the world, not the most developed. There's lots of risk involved.
Hmm.
That's going to slow recovery. Just like Haiti, you could argue that it hasn't actually really recovered since the 2010 earthquake.
Hmm.
So you got all this political instability,
Wow, yeah.
violence, disease spread, everything.
We
If
were
you're not fully
fortunate though that
developed,
Eastern Jamaica isn't getting completely railed by this system. They are still seeing catastrophic impacts from the rainfall totals, but they're not getting directly hit by the winds from the system.
yeah, the radius maximum wind and really much of the hurricane force winds aren't really affecting uh, eastern Jamaica, which is good for them. But again, I'd like to emphasize that the wind impacts are usually not the most deadly. It is the rainfall and the storm surge. So, um, not really that's too important in my opinion. I think it's going to be quite bad everywhere.
Yes. No, I did want to discuss the storm surge lag. How can the storm surge kind of be pushed back after landfall? Like, how can the storm surge be worse even after it makes its first landfall? Like, it
I mean,
takes or lags behind.
first of all, let's not forget that this will be the Jamaica will be a relatively minor disruption for land compared to other landfalling hurricanes which move into the continent, for example.
Hmm.
So, once it makes landfall, it'll be out soon, relatively soon, and the extent of Melissa, is still going to be around to provide some surge for the southern part of the island. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be around Jamaica for quite a bit, even after it moves onto the other side of Jamaica. Yeah, and let's not forget also the fact that it already has a reach on the other side of the island, and it's bringing storm surge over there, particularly by Montego Bay.
Yes.
They've probably got some pretty bad storm surge right now, even though it hasn't even made landfall yet on the southern side of the island. Once it moves onto the northern side of the island, Montego Bay is going to get the worst of it on the northern side. And yeah, I mean, look, the kind of coverage, how long all the storm surge going to be going for, it's gonna be quite a while. We are nowhere near the end for storm surge. I can tell you that for a
Yes.
fact.
It's not just Jamaica, it's also going to be impacting parts of Cuba. Looks like it's going to be the worst for Santiago de Cuba parish in Cuba. Would you say that's right? I will let me zoom in here for you to just show you the parishes of, or sorry, provinces of Cuba here. I'll outline where Santiago de
Yeah.
Cuba is. Let's see if this works. Santiago de Cuba province is roughly right through here. So you think they're going to be getting the worst storm surge from the system?
Um, yeah, I mean, let's also consider the fact that Melissa's going to be speeding up a little bit after Jamaica and as it heads into Cuba. So that storm surge isn't only going to get is only going to get worse when we consider that. It's going to be bad, yeah.
Now, why does it get worse when the forward motion is faster?
Well, again, first of all, you have this kind of, you have less dependency on the storm structure and the storm intensity itself to get those, winds going and to actually get any storm surge directed at the coast and getting that storm surge intensified. Again, you have less dependency on that because you have storm motion also helping out, because the storm motion before Cuba is probably going to be more average compared to now.
Hmm.
If you look at most Atlantic hurricanes, 10, 15, 20 miles per hour movement, You'll probably get something closer to that now as it approaches Cuba. Yeah, you'll have less dependency on a storm intensity at that point, and you'll have a generally uh, difficult to describe. But you'll have this motion, and the storm might be intensifying and might be at this kind of normal intensity, and then you also have to add on now the standard that comes in from movement, and that's kind of how you get your storm surge. You also got to consider that fast moving storms and larger storms, they're around to increase storm surge. We've seen that with many storms in the past,
Yes.
and yeah, that there's gonna be an increased risk here.
It's expected to speed up to 14 miles an hour by the time it slams into Cuba. Right now it's moving 9 miles an hour. So you're right on that. It is going to be speeding up. Let's see. Now, how is the storm surge going to be impacting parts of the, for example, farmlands with the storm surge, bringing in some saltwater intrusions? How's that going to be messing up crops potentially?
Well, if you see utter destruction, you have all this wind friction coming in. You're gonna have big disruption. Everything gonna be ripped out the ground in some cases. It's all gonna be gone. And we also got to take into account that excessive rainfall is gonna spoil. It's gonna spoil the soil. It floods everything, floods the crops, everything that's gonna be unusable. I mean, in so many ways, you're gonna have big destruction to crops. If there's some crops by the coast, for example, as well, you're going to have coastal inundation. You're going to have a lot of salt water piling in into those, into those crop fields, and that's going to be a problem because those crops and the soil as well, you're not going to be able to use it.
Yes.
It's going to be a problem. Yeah.
Now, would you say the timeline is after the eye passes? Like in the next 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours after landfall, what do you think is going to be happening in terms of communications getting restored, people start doing damage surveys, rescue efforts? How long do you think it's going to take until those begin?
Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be happening within the first day. It'll probably take a few days initially to get things kick-started up. But initially, I think what will be happening is the government will be pleading for data, any sort of footage, whatever it will take, to kind of be able to communicate to the outside world what the actual situation is.
Yes.
And the government obviously will be trying to do that once to get a grasp of what's actually happened, once to get their stuff together. And they'll be able to try share globally and try get some rescue efforts in, because it will be definitely, most certainly, an international mission to be able to help Jamaica recover. And yeah, those communication outages, it's going to be hard to recover out of this type of storm. You've got to consider that Jamaica isn't too developed. It's somewhat developed to some extent, but it's not fully. And after such a hurricane like this, as an island, really going to be a difficult time recovering. And hence why, it will take a few days to actually get stuff started to begin with. Because you have to let people know around the globe. You have to let governments know. You have to, if you want to plead for support, you have to plead for support, communicate with them, but you also have to get a grasp of what's actually happening, what to do with the aid, where does the aid go.
Yes.
So much logistics that really has to, that goes into this, so many problems. It's critical to consider everything, and it's going to take a while.
What do you think is going to be happening now in a month from now in terms of how smoothly could things be running by then, in terms of aid, that kind of stuff? Do you think power's going to be back up in some areas?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Usually there is, but no doubt they'll be slower than average. Again, this is not an extremely well developed area. It will take time to recover in Jamaica, no doubt about that. But to go out after 1 month and try and make an estimate of what might be happening, I don't see too much of a point. There's too little that we know. We don't know enough. Too much that we don't know. And again, yeah, it's a complex process of recovery, and there's again not really much we can say because a lot could go down. There's not much that we can kind of is almost like predict and say what's absolutely going to be happening over the next month. Because what happens over the next month will be influencing kind of the response that's going to be going on in 1 month's time. Yeah, not much that I can really say on that matter, to be honest.
That's and I did want to ask about. Let me just look. Okay, I did want to ask about kind of the long-term impacts, the impacts that could be going on for years from now. What kind of, how will there still be remnant impacts from the system? Do you think in the long term? How it takes that long to fully recover?
I don't think we're going to see recovery from what I'm about to say, but like we've seen with Katrina and Harvey and Maria, you know, big psychological damage to a lot of residents on the island, because this will be the worst thing that they've probably ever seen. It's not easy to recover from something like that. Post-traumatic stress disorder is an absolute possibility for many people, and it's not something you can recover from very easily, if at all. So that's one thing. That's one of the worst things that can really happen. And that can indirectly again lead to suicides and stuff like
Yes.
that, which I'm not going to go too far into, but big psychological impacts. These storms are going to be uh, pure destruction. People haven't seen something like it before. It's going to be a problem.
Yes.
So what in the long term, really? I mean, you're going to have that. And again, let's also talk about economically and people's homes being lost, and that's their entire lives.
Mhm.
People may be getting paralyzed from injuries. There's so much that can go wrong in an operational hurricane like this making landfall. Um, it's it's gonna be a lot, man.
Yes. I did want to mention something from the hurricane hunters. I know you guys probably haven't seen this because we've all been focused on the hurricane. Let me just send this in the live chat so then I can pull it up on stream. Let me see. Okay, sent it there. Now I'm gonna see if I can pull up this image, and I'll pull up their statements that they've mentioned about the hurricane. Let me just grab this, and then I'll copy and paste, and I'll show this on stream so that way the viewers can see. If it works, this was a statement about after they flew into the. Come on. Let's see. Copy image address. Okay, here we go. I'll show this on stream now. They said a 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron crew, call sign at SEAL 75, known as the Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunters, is returning to its forward operating location in Curacao after encountering heavy turbulence today while entering the eye of Hurricane Melissa, Category 5 storm. During the event, the aircraft briefly experienced forces stronger than normal due to turbulence. While this does not automatically indicate damage, standard safety procedures requires an inspection before returning to operations. The 53rd WRS is an Air Force Reserve unit assigned to the 403rd Wing at Kessler Air Force Base, Mississippi. So they're no longer going to be flying out until they do an inspection. Looks like that's...
Yeah, that's what we've had yesterday with the NOAA Hurricane Hunters. We had them exceed the G-force limit that they
Yes.
had for the aircraft. This is probably what happened. This is the same thing. I mean, if you saw the aircraft reconnaissance aircraft data that came in earlier today, you saw them in the eye for like 20, 30 minutes. I was actually with some concern there, trying to figure out what was actually happening and what was the concern. I mean, definitely possibility for some chaos inside the plane, stuff going loose, stuff going all over the place. I mean, that's not the first time. We saw it with Ian 3 years ago. Big chaos happening, massive turbulence, and chaos all over inside the plane, inside the
Yes.
cockpit, in the cabin. You'll have big problems with that. It's probably what happened yesterday. It's a very, very intense storm, and it doesn't surprise me whatsoever that there's going to be these sorts of problems. Uh, it doesn't surprise me. It happened once, it's going to happen again. The storm maintained intensity. But this is kind of why, this is going to be a big problem. I mean, I don't know what happened exactly, but I do know some details of what happened in Hurricane Hugo.
Hmm.
You know, when you had a plane's two engines on its left side catch on fire
Oh, wow.
as a result of this massive G-force and this massive shift in altitude that they had.
Hmm.
Yeah, these things can kill. These things are deadly. So we really have to thank our hurricane hunters from both the Air Force and NOAA,
Yes.
because they'll be getting all this very 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 critical data, and there's a very big risk to life here. Uh,
Hmm.
this can kill people. This can absolutely kill people.
Yes. They're risking their lives to give us data. Life-saving data. See, now the eye is continuing to approach land. It is very close now, the center, from making landfall there. Let me see if I can kind of outline the coast more. So it looks like it's around here-ish. Um, let's see. So yeah, it looks like it's making landfall there. It's going to be making landfall in Westmoreland, it looks like, right now. So, I mean, it's very close. So how long do you think until it actually makes a landfall?
Um, Half an hour probably,
Mm-hmm.
half an hour at most. It's getting fairly close now. It's not moving entirely parallel. We're looking at it going slightly in a northwards direction, as you've marked. Uh,
Yes. It's getting even closer
we
now.
can see this, but yeah, it is getting closer. It's inching closer slowly. Again, yeah, we should see landfall in about half an hour time.
Wow. Okay, and you can see the Eyewall now impacting parts of Springfield, Seafortown, as well as Carmel, and now Savannah Lamar. Looks like they are getting now battered in. That's northwestern Eyewall there. It seems like, man, that was a town that I got a couple of questions about there, so I'm really hoping they're safe there. Treasure Beach is also getting impacted in the southeastern portions of the core, looks like. Not getting the eye wall, though, fortunately. Let's see. So the center, though, getting very close. Let's try and figure out how many miles away this center is actually from a landfall. Looks to be around 4 miles away, and as we were mentioning earlier, it's moving at 9 miles an hour, so it looks like it's going to be making landfall within 30 minutes or so, as you said. So did you mention again that it's going to be moving more to the northeast instead of moving due north? Has it been making a shift?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a shift now with the recent imagery. It's
Hmm.
moving. It's currently moving more due north as a result
Yeah.
of this terrain deflection. But this terrain deflection can only last so long, so we are going to see a more resumed northeast movement shortly. Really, I mean, once it makes landfall, probably we'll see that terrain deflection effect stop a little bit more, become less noticeable. It will carry on moving at the direction it was been moving at over the past few hours, and
Yes.
it'll be off
Wow.
into the strait and off towards Cuba at that point.
Man, already the eye just this is insane. I was not expecting to see this kind of satellite imagery on the system. It does look like though that the cloud tops are continuing to warm overall though for the CDO.
Yeah,
So you think it's
we've
trying to
also
weaken?
seen we've also seen some of the enveloped eyeball lightning kind of degrade and move off and just kind of stop happening on the northeastern side where the eyeball has gone over land already.
Hmm.
We've still got quite a lot of it persisting over over the west side,
Yeah.
southwest side. A lot of it very dense, very high density of strikes there. But over land on the northeast side, that's pretty much stopped now. We've only got some isolated lightning on the north side, only one strike on the northeast. That's all we've got at the moment.
Yes.
It's coming down slowly.
See, Sharkius, are you still there? Can you let it if you are, or are you there? Let's see. Okay, he is. Sharkius, can you
Alright.
let us know as soon as the update comes out for the landfall, please?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
On the Hurricane Center, yeah, I'll keep an eye on that.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's see, man. So, again, it's just getting closer and closer, impacting some of these areas. How strong of winds do you think are going to be happening in areas like Savannah Lamar here in this northwestern part of the Eyewall. How strong of winds and wind gusts do you think are happening, Casper?
So northwest, yeah, northwest. Well, yeah, we could be looking at about. Generally, it's actually quite unlucky because this is what a very kind of uh, at least the eastern side of the eye wall, the
Mm-hmm.
east eye wall. It's kind of got this concave shape. So maybe some time ago, maybe not now really, but some time ago we saw that we're gonna have this uh this concave shape help probably enhance winds slightly. And yeah, most of that area, most of that coastal area, we're probably going to get some sustained winds felt of it genuinely possible to get over 100 knot winds sustained, 115 miles per hour. So that's direct category 3 winds,
Mm-hmm.
probably felt at the surface. Highly possible in a hurricane like this. That's something you'd probably expect on the coast as it approaches. But yeah, widely, very, very powerful wind gusts going well into category 4 range, certainly possible. It's going to be extremely powerful winds on the surface. People are going to feel it. Absolutely going to be something.
Not just at the surface, as you're mentioning, some of those more mountainous areas. How much of an increase in winds could they be seeing if they're higher up? Oh man, hold on. Give me a moment here. I have new updates out on here. Let me try and show you all this. Okay, let me just highlight the coastline. Okay, I got the coastline right on here. Just draw it a little bit. Yeah, so look at that. That is minutes away from a landfall, actually. I was drawing kind of the wrong coastline there. It looks like here it is, getting very close to a landfall. If I show the center, yeah, it looks like we're almost at a landfall now. More portions of this would be southwestern St. Elizabeth and southeastern Westmoreland are now approaching the eye, looks like. Getting very close to a landfall. No update yet from the National Hurricane Center, but we could see that change very shortly. Casper, do you think they're going to wait until the 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time update, or are they going to do it, or are they going to call it earlier?
It's highly possible that the 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time update is going to be the landfall update.
No, you
It's
mean 1 p.m. Eastern
looking,
Daylight Time?
I do think it's going to be almost exactly at that time.
Mm-hmm.
We're still looking about 20 minutes, I think. 15, 20 minutes, I think, yeah, that'll be when the update confirms landfall.
Us. Man, okay. And what about portions of Black River? What do you think they could be seeing right now in the southeastern portions of the Eyewall? And they're getting onshore flow. So what is that going to be enhancing?
Storm surge.
Yes.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Probably going to be one of the worst conditions on that part of the coast. Definitely going to be some bad wind, storm surge, all sorts of impacts there. Yeah, we're probably going to see some of the most catastrophic impacts in that town.
Us. Fortunately, even though that they're not getting into the eye, they are still getting in the eye wall, and for a long period of time, they're not really getting a break from the system. It doesn't look like, and it doesn't look like they will get one at all. As the system continues moving north and northeast, they're not even going to enter a break. Looks like that's one of the worst places to be with the system. Remembered mentioning this over my previous update videos, just how Black River is very susceptible to storm surge, and it all really depends on if it makes landfall to the east or west. And the consensus had it making landfall directly over Black River, but it wasn't really factoring into the account that it could make a northern wobble, and it did that right now, and they're getting the worst of the storm surge. Looks to be 9 to 13 feet of sea level rise in those areas. Wow.
Take a look at what I've just sent you.
See. What's this? Black River, St. Elizabeth? Okay. Man, okay, I'm going to post that on Twitter. Thank you so much for letting me know about that. Let's see if I can find it there. I'm going to make a post about this on X just to try and share it more. Just going to give it a like here, and then I'll share more. I don't think I can really show it on stream. No, okay, because this guy is just sharing other people's footage, looks like. Thanks for sending it to me, though.
It's fine.
Someone's saying it probably could have already landfalled already because this is around 5 minutes out of dates, this imagery here. What do you think? How long until a landfall? What time is your estimate of a landfall? Or what's your estimate of a time of a landfall?
I'm just looking at the imagery myself. We could be looking at as soon as 10 minutes from now. Look, a bit uncertain. There's some kind of uncertainty on the position, but yeah, I mean, we've probably got a few minutes left. Yeah, I don't think we've landfalled yet, but it's gonna happen anytime now.
Mm-hmm.
No update from the Hurricane Center yet.
All right. What are you guys thinking?
I do still think they're gonna wait for 5 p.m. Sorry, probably
1
what is it?
p.m.
They're still probably gonna wait for 1 p.m. Yeah.
Yes. I did want to ask you, Casper, what's the landfall intensity that you think the National Hurricane's gonna go with?
They'll probably maintain. They usually use for awareness. That's what some people have said, but I'm just thinking that they like to be fairly consistent sometimes. So I think they're going to hold it. There hasn't
Mhm.
been any significant structural change, so we're probably going to see some maintaining of the intensity. So yeah, landfall intensity probably going to be 160 knots, 185 miles per hour. In tropical cyclone report, they'll probably uh, reduce it by 5. They might keep it the same. Again, there's not much we know.
Yes.
I would accept both. We haven't seen too much degradation, but it wouldn't surprise me if we've seen some weakening, and that's probably what I think has happened.
So we got another 5 new frames here showing where the coastline is and where the center of the storm has moved. Let me see if I can pause that. No, I can't. Okay. So it looks
Oh,
like
that looks like it's very, 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 very close. One more frame, and I think that's landfall.
the center there is almost looks like it's going to be making landfall directly over White House. And this is around 3 minutes out of dates, so yeah, it looks like within the next 15 minutes we will see an update from the National Hurricane Center declaring a historic landfall. Do you remember what they did during Otis? And if they, during its landfall, if they kept the same intensity at
Yeah,
landfall and
they
before
did.
landfall?
Yeah, they did. They did, and then that's
Operationally.
kind of where I've got my idea from. Yeah, that's kind of where I got my idea from. Is the fact that they kept it consistent operationally, and then tropical cyclone report had the landfall intensity lowered by 5 knots,
Hmm.
which is absolutely reasonable. I mean, uh, we saw a very significant degradation in the final minutes before landfall. The eye was starting to completely disintegrate. We saw central dense overcast warming. So, and this is sort of the thing that we're seeing here. The eye isn't degrading, obviously, not too much, but we do see some slight degradation in the central dense overcast, which would probably suggest that there's been some minimal weakening. Uh,
Yes.
but then again, we'll have to see what the National Hurricane Center evaluation seems to put it at this time.
And now portions of Springfield and Seaford Town all getting impacts. I'm curious if there's any live web cameras here. Or wait, hold on. I'm curious if radar's updated at all. No, that radar's gone down, but we do have radar imagery from the Cayman Islands. Looks like it's crazy how we're seeing this much, or this high of DBZ from the Cayman radars. What does this indicate? Why does it only look so low on the Cayman Islands radar? Why doesn't it look that powerful on the Cayman Islands radar?
Is that the Cayman Islands radar?
Yes, this is the radar from the Cayman Islands, and this is what it's showing. Why doesn't it look as solid from the Cayman Islands radar here? And why does that look deceiving?
Well, we have to consider that first of all, it's scanning at well, being that far from the radar, it's gonna scan quite high at that range. And we also have to consider that there's gonna be some kind of obstruction to the radar scanning when you've got at least at that range.
Hmm.
You've got this nice obstruction at the western eyewall. Some of those reflectivities won't be showing up on the eastern side,
Yes.
especially if you're that far out. There's going to be a bit of a difficulty getting there.
But this is quite solid, wouldn't you say, for a storm, all the way almost out of the radar range.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that it's that high and the reflectivities are that high, that at that height, that's pretty solid. Yeah.
It's around 160 to 200 miles away right now from the radar location, and it's scanning it this high. You could still see a solid core with it from that far away. So these looks can be
Yeah, I
deceiving.
mean, even with the reflectivities being a bit lower on the southeastern side, you can kind of trace where that core is.
Yes.
Nonetheless, so there is a core there you can still see. And then yeah, you got that.
There's the Jamaican radar. Then
Right.
it hasn't updated recently.
To be honest, I believe it's dead. It's gone
Yeah.
now. It's probably destroyed, given what's happening right now.
I mean, it was updated. Oh, well, never mind. No, now it's around. You see, 2 hours old. Yeah, so you're right. It has not updated in a while. Now we're just using the Cayman Islands radar.
No landfall update for that HT just yet.
Yeah, they're probably going to wait another 12 minutes. Ooh, and what about the storm surge threat for Montego Bay, for example? What kind of storm surge threat could they be dealing with as it moves across? Um,
Yeah,
so
I
yeah.
mean, I've discussed this already. I mean, it's already probably having some significant storm surge, given that it has that the northerly flow coming in from uh from the east side of the storm. It's all coming around. It's coming in back down to Montego Bay, and then obviously yeah, this is just the start because once it passes after Jamaica, goes through Jamaica, goes out on the other side. It'll still be bringing storm surge into Montego Bay at that point. So
Us.
Montego Bay is going to be dealing with it for long, long, long time. Same goes with the southern part of the island because right now it's dealing with extensive storm surge coming in from the east side of across the east side of Melissa, and it'll be coming in from the south side of Melissa once it emerges on the other side. So it's an island, so this storm surge will be going in for quite a long time, especially after it passes Jamaica, because Jamaica isn't going to destroy the hurricane. The hurricane is
Yes.
going to be it's going to be well intact, still quite a powerful one once it emerges onto the other side. So that storm surge is still going to be quite extensive, and particularly from Montego Bay, it's going to suffer quite a bit.
Yes.
You can see quite a bit of coastal inundation happening over there. Like I'm pretty sure of it.
Right, we got new frames. Now this is up until 1647 UTC, so around 2 minutes ago, showing where the center is located at. Let me draw the coastline here. Highlight this a little bit more. More of that eye there.
Yeah,
This
it's
is about
landfall.
less than 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes from landfall here.
Honestly, I think it's fair to say we've probably got landfall or just before landfall, like right now as we're speaking. Well, we'd probably talk about 12:50 Eastern Daylight Time. That's probably where that landfall. That's probably when that landfall has or is taking place.
Yes.
I think that landfall is going to be here at like 12:52 or 12:51. The next frame, I think.
Mhm. Man, okay.
Um,
And what do you guys think the landfall
got-
intensity is?
I probably think they're going to stay around the same here. Probably around 185, 892. I don't think they're going to change that. But they probably
Got
will lower
reports.
it there.
I've got reports from NBC that medical facilities in Black River have just been destroyed.
Oh, wow.
It does look less impressive. So I think it is maybe 180 plus still, but probably 180 at landfall.
Say
However,
probably
the eye has
go-
been very, very, very circular still. It's really impressive how it's been looking even up to this point.
Let me decrease the landfall timing here. I'll cut it down to, let's see, I'll time it down to around, let's see, maybe another 2 minutes or so.
Less than 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Around maybe 2, 3 minutes. I do 3.
Up. Yeah, I'll do 3 minutes as soon as it hits 11:52, and then we'll declare landfall at 12:55 or 11:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Unless then she does it first, I'll take a look.
Yes.
Nothing yet.
All right. And bam. Okay, there we go. So when it hits 55, I'm going to be declaring a landfall. So I mean, these latest frames that are about to come out on this should show it's likely made landfall. Well, last night I said that I thought the landfall intensity would be around 9-10 millibars. I thought it would weaken some before landfall. I wasn't expecting it to really keep intensifying overnight down to the sub 900s. Thought it would maybe just barely dip down there and then.
I mean, look,
Yeah, and
these
it's
near
likely even
intensity,
stronger than what they put too.
What were you saying, Casper?
these these intensity, um, the near-term intensity forecasts, it's a bit difficult, especially at high-end tropical cyclones. It's a bit difficult to kind of predict this near-term evolution. I mean, National Hurricane Center, and we see with you as well. I mean, probably you weren't the only one as well,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a bit difficult because the near-term structural evolution can really go in many different ways. It was a good idea probably to assume that an eyeball replacement cycle, a proper eyeball
Yes.
replacement cycle, was going to take place at some point. As usually does happen with higher end TCs at some point, but it didn't happen this time, and this is why this storm is so abnormal. It just kept going. It never stopped. So this wasn't an easy prediction by any means.
Yes.
And even the National Hurricane Center is going to have a noticeable error with this time, with regards to prediction, because it's not easy to predict these kind of structural evolutions. These structural changes aren't supposed to be easy to predict at this time at the moment.
Yep.
That's just how it is.
Alright, so I'm going to get ready to do the landfall sound effects. I don't think you've been in here for this, Casper, but now I do. Anytime there's a major hurricane landfall, I do a soundboard effects there, just like if you've seen my animations before, I do that sound effect on major hurricanes. I decided, I'm going to do that on live streams.
Okay, that's fun.
So in around 15 seconds or so, as soon as it hits 12 or 11:55, I am going to be doing that real quick.
Yeah, I don't think she's weakening yet. I mean, the
Okay.
eye looks a little bit less impressive, but it's still very
Yeah.
circular.
So, Category 5 landfall, likely just along the border of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. Southeastern Westmoreland likely just got hit by a Category 5 now. Around White House and New Hope is where I would say. Any update from the Hurricane Center yet, Sharkius?
Nope.
Alright.
I can put it out at 1 here.
And probably right after the landfall, I'm probably gonna call it a day on the live stream, because I'm gonna be doing another one tonight as a little bit of a video updates. So I'll make sure I get some sleep and get some work done. But I really
Yeah,
want
I-
to see this
I
update from
work.
the National Hurricane Center.
I work tonight, so that's pretty fun. I have to get some sleep too.
Yep.
Even like 3 hours.
So there should be an update within the next 4 minutes from the National Hurricane Center discussing this. But yeah, the Eyewall is now approaching parts of Seaford Town, Camel, Savannah Lamar is already getting impacts from it as well. Really, next areas that are going to... Oh, new frames are loading out as well. Yeah, it looks like a clear landfall right now. It's going to be approaching areas of Garlands and Cambridge. Let's see where else. Maroon Town, all those areas, and gets very close to Montego Bay. And areas of Falmouth as well really need to be paying attention to this as well, as it's going to get a little bit close for comfort there. So really, it's now starting to enter portions of St. James Parish right now. That Eyewall, parts of southeastern Hanover as well. When is the next live stream going to be? The next live stream is likely going to be tonight, probably at around 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time is probably when I'm going to start it. It's going to be a shorter live stream because not as many people are going to be watching. It's just going to be a brief overview on the system, and I will probably be doing another live stream by the time it makes landfall in Cuba.
A quote by the Weather Channel just came in saying, "No way out except to die."
Huh?
Yeah. Like a little quote from the Weather Channel just popped up on my phone about Hurricane Melissa. No way
Oh,
out
wow.
except to die. I guess that was by someone that lives there.
Wow.
Let's see. I still have not seen an update from the Hurricane Center. I'm constantly refreshing here.
Yeah. Looks like you guys were right. They're going to
We
be
still
waiting
got
until the 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time update.
3 minutes left.
Yes.
I think they should have done it now, but whatever.
What are your guys' thoughts of witnessing this live? Just seeing such a historic landfall happening. Kesper, what are your thoughts just watching this thing blow up and seeing it
Oh,
making a catastrophic
um,
landfall?
Speechless. Yeah, it's incredible, but nothing beats the time when I woke up with Otis rapidly intensifying unexpectedly. I'm sorry, but those chills that I got back then
Yeah.
were something else. Nothing's gonna beat that, and this is not to say this is not going to be extremely horrible. If anything, this is probably going to be worse than Otis, and I don't think we should be making comparisons like that. But this is something else. But I just won't get that feeling. Nothing will beat Otis. But this is very bad, though. I am sick.
Yes.
I am lost for words.
Listen, Sharkius, what are your thoughts witnessing history like this?
Honestly, just last year with how Helene and Milton just absolutely shocked me to my core. Seeing something like this, especially a storm like this making landfall in an area that's never seen anything like this before. It's not normally prepared for hurricanes like this. It's just incredible. It's no words can be said. Just praying and praying for those who live there.
Man, can't believe in less than a minute we're going to be seeing history be announced.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be 185, 892 still. I don't think they're going to change it.
It says 1 o'clock for me now. See if it's out.
Nope.
Yeah, it will literally be any time now. Any time now.
Not yet. I'm not seeing anything.
See, I'll read the statement. Just Sharkius, let me know when it comes out.
Yep. I'm not seeing it yet.
The good news, though, is the storm has started losing a lot more of its colder cloud tops. Looks like there isn't really any other areas now with minus 80 Celsius, mainly just on that northeastern edges of the CDO.
Yeah, but with how circular the eye was and how it maintained its eye and maintained its beautiful structure the entire time, it still looks like it could have been 892 millibars by landfall. So
It's not weakened a whole lot, unfortunately.
no, so it could still be like 895 maybe. Oh, there it is. Got it. It's
All
here.
right, I'll pull it up. All right, I see it's there. Let's see. Update statement 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Category 5 Melissa makes landfall in Jamaica, one of the most powerful hurricane landfalls on record in the Atlantic Basin. Melissa has made landfall in southwestern Jamaica near New Hope with estimated maximum sustained winds of 185 miles an hour and an estimated minimum central pressure of 892 millibars. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Do not leave your shelter as the eye passes over, as winds will quickly and rapidly increase on the other side of the eye. Residents should remain in place through the passage of these life-threatening conditions. To protect yourself from wind, the best thing you can do is put as many walls as possible between you and the outside. An interior room without windows, ideally one where you can also avoid falling trees, is the safest place you can be in a building. You can also cover yourself with a mattress and wear a helmet for added protection. The next position update will be provided with the intermediate advisory at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So this is the strongest, tied for the strongest landfall in the Atlantic Basin. Is that correct?
Tied, yep.
Wow. Man, okay. Well, I'm waiting for the post from the National Hurricane Center on X. But wow, we all just witnessed history be made for Jamaica.
I don't know if they'll adjust this in post analysis, but I mean, I don't think they'll change that. It's just insane.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the sake of those who live there.
Wow. See here, I'm still refreshing the National
And they're
Hurricane
the
Center.
strongest landfalling hurricanes in terms of wind speed. Melissa's tied for number one with Dorian and Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
No updated fatalities yet.
Wow, okay. Still no post on X just yet.
Yeah, not seeing anything else yet.
What does it mean by sawtooth appearance when they're talking about a hurricane and the eye or eyewall?
Constant mesovorts going all around the place.
Okay.
You'll see this like rotating almost like square. Such
Mhm.
4 or 5 mesovorts going around. It'll make this kind of tooth shape.
So there we go. The
outline of
Hurricane
tooth shape.
Center's posted their thing there now on X.
Yep, someone just posted that as well in the chat, and Melissa, as you said it.
Yes. Wow, okay. Well, we just watched history be made here with Hurricane Melissa making a devastating landfall, catastrophic, unprecedented landfall in portions of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. Going to be continuing to plow through parts of St. James, Trelawney, and Hanover. Wow, okay. Well, there will be another update I will be releasing later tonight to discuss the storm, and then I will be doing likely another landfall live stream by the time it makes impacts in Cuba. Well, guys, that about wraps it up here. Now, I want to say, Casper, what is your YouTube channel? Oh, wait, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Sorry, something happened on YouTube for some reason. Okay. Do you guys want to shout out your YouTube channels? Casper, what's yours?
Casper, the Casper WX, space CPR docs. You can also find my page, which is the name.
Sorry, hold on. Things are
If you
glitching
wanna
out right
see
now.
my-
Can you type it in the live chat? Like if you go to your, just say hi in the live chat, if you would.
I did that. Just as you said it.
Just on your account, so then people can click on your channel and check it out. Be sure to subscribe to them if you haven't, okay? They've been a huge help here. This has been going on now for over 3 hours, and their help has been amazing, discussing the storm and getting the impacts out to you all, and getting the word out.
I'm going to probably go live later too on Melissa, because if you're going to do one, I'll probably do one too.
So there's Casper weather. Nice.
Now the eye is starting to shrink now.
Yes, so now it's starting to weaken. Yes.
Which is about time. It looked like the eye was not shrinking at all until it finally made landfall.
So we'll likely be doing an update in around 7 hours or so. Until then, I'm probably going to get some rest. Again, thank you guys so much for your help, Sharkius and Casper.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing me on.
Of course, yes. We'll see, depending on the timing of landfall in Cuba. We'll see if you guys can join in again. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. And again, stay safe, okay? I will see you in the next update. Stay safe.
Thanks.